given 3 minutes to address the board. Groups or specific topics will be given a maximum of 15 minutes. Public comment will be limited to 30 minutes maximum. If additional time is required for public comment, this will be heard at the end of the meeting. Please remember to follow the public comment code of conduct. No profanity or obscenity, yelling or screaming, no slander or defamatory statements, no personal threats or attacks, no hateful or demeaning language based on hate of a person's race, religion, sexual orientation, ethnicity, gender, or disability. Respect all people that are present and or watching online. Obey the directions of the clerk of the board and the chair of the board. Please remember that if you do start to get out of line, I will ask the clerk to turn off the microphone. Thank you. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Madam Clerk, since you have a list of those who have requested to speak. We'll start with those in chambers.
Yes, Chairman. First speaker is Jesus Solano.
Mr. Solano, there you go. Perfect, thank you.
Good morning, public. Good morning, Mr. Chair, Board of Supervisors, Director, and staff. My subject matter is not on the agenda, but I did notice that on item 23, Comité Cívico del Valle of Brawley nonprofit is appealing the planning department decision on a lithium project.
Sir, if this if this is on that item, you have to wait till that item comes up on the agenda.
No, that was just a comment. That was just a comment. My status is still the County of Imperial decision to award and approve over $720,000 of public funding to nonprofit, mostly controlled by Luis Olmedo, Director of Comité Cívico. As part of the minutes, I have submitted a one-page overview which has several red tags on which your allocations to public funding. In my opinion, and many other parties, this whole proposal process does not pass the smell test. Since the last meeting on Tuesday, January 9th, 2024, I stood in front of you, your board, and requested an audit. As I stated before, you are funding nonprofits that do not engage in community in projects. They violate zoning, safe regulations, environment regulations, and they made a backdoor room deal on a piece of city real estate without any public notice. This was a gift of public funds to benefit certain individuals, and a nonprofit organization that does not engage in community on projects. I call Comité Olmedo, Ureña, Manzanares, and Imperial Valley Equity and Justice nonprofits totally hypocrites. Wake up, Board of Supervisors. They failed you once, but we in Calexico know how they operate. And the question here, we believe that it's the state and the board's responsibility to monitor these situations, okay? Because they're circumventing and abusing the system of the tax exempt. They are not registered as a 501c4, okay, where it's permitted to a certain point where they can get involved, as long it's not their main priority, okay? They are registered as a 501c3, where it's prohibited to pass out propaganda and getting involved in politics. Thank you.
Next speaker is Ms. Maritza Hurtado.
Good morning. My name is Maritza Hurtado, and I am the team leader for the recall in Calexico, California, where we are recalling former Mayor Raul Ureña and Councilman Gilberto Manzanares. Also share the same feelings with Mr. Solano, who is one of our best volunteers in this recall. We have been very concerned about many issues in Calexico and has to do with IV equity and justice participation in a lot of what we have been needing and moving forward in the city of Calexico. Besides this body here being concerned with regard to the $170,000 given to IV equity for so-called social justice or equity outreach, they actually are continuously in Calexico just this past weekend, continuing the activity. We saw them only steps away from the international border on First Street. So in Calexico, we're still concerned with this group, but also I wanted to remind you that this same group penetrated and assisted our council and probably was planned all along to move around a lot of our ARPA funds. So we're very concerned about our ARPA funds. We have station number 2 in Calexico has yet to be reopened with the respect that our firemen require. So the fact that IV Equity and Justice, and as you know, Alexis Castro, who's now sitting at the legislature, had a lot of involvement in the background as far as how our monies was going to be spent. So we are very concerned about IV Equity and Justice, those that are revolving around what their activities are, the fact that they do not ask permission or that we have lost control about their activities. They're protesting primarily. And what's very concerning, I think, and why Mr. Solano and I come here to the county to let you know what we're experiencing in Calexico is because Calexico feels that we're being terrorized by this group. And honestly, we don't feel that any other group or any other campaign, I would say, should be supporting this group. This group is young. They say they're progressives, but they're not. They're actually extremists, and they're radicals. And that is exactly what we have been experiencing in Calexico, and why we're fighting back and why this recall is so successful. This recall has nothing to do with personal choices. Please understand that. We don't appreciate when individuals indicate that this recall has a lot to do with his personal choices. It does not. It has to do with what this county, these supervisors, and this community should be very concerned about, is radicals on the loose in your community that are actually making changes because they have power in leadership. And that power in leadership will be removed on April 16th, 2024, when, thank the Lord, we were able to organize sufficiently against this threat to our quiet community. The community of Calexico nor the county of Imperial require more than to just get organized to fight this off. It will make a huge difference for you and your children if we eliminate this dangerous element from our community. IV Equity and Justice, Raul Ureña and Manzanares, gotta go.
Next speaker, Ms. April Ochoa.
Good morning. I am here on behalf of the Nyland Chamber of Commerce. I think everyone received the paper that I brought for you guys to kind of give you an idea why we are here. The Imperial County gave us a grant for $50,000, and the township is grateful for that. That was for the flood that we had back in September 1st. The problem with that is that there was an income bracket, and that caused a lot of friction within the community. We are only 452 people. Over 80 families were affected, and for there to be a bracket, that's kind of injustice. Why? Because there's people that don't qualify because they go over $100. It seems a bit unfair. And so we're here today asking that the income bracket be removed. $50,000 is not really anything when you make that division over these people, all these affected people. And we are asking as well for additional funding. I understand that you guys gave us $50,000 through this ARPA grant, and then there's all these things that consist of that, but it is not enough. We've been neglected. We don't have a city council. We don't have a mayor. You guys are our support, so we're asking for your help. There's people that lost their homes, that have been in their houses for 60 years, and they're having to live with other family members because they no longer have a home. If you've been to Nyland, if you see those images that I gave you, I am very sure that if you lived out there, you'd be very unhappy to see how those homes were damaged, how people lost their cars, how people lost minor things as their washer and dryer. They can't afford it. there's 15 people here from Nyland that was able to come in groups for transportation because we only have one bus that goes out there 2 times a day. That's not even enough transit for them. You know, it's a 50-minute drive from here to there. There's no transportation, there's no help. We are neglected. Nyland, you ask people what they think about Nyland, and it's always a negative remark. If we are not here asking for help, then no one's gonna do it.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Your concern is the limitation on income? It's capped at 50,000?
That's one concern, yes.
Okay, and at 50,000 or more, you're not eligible to receive assistance?
No, there's an income bracket of based on household. If there's 1, 2 people, it's a specific amount. If there's 3, 4, there's a specific amount. A lot of people don't qualify. Some do, because obviously we're kind of the lowest income in Imperial County. But these people that go over $100 don't qualify, and it turns out they're the ones that had the highest damages in their homes. And so this flood affected everyone.
Who set that, Miguel, that limitation?
So that's based on the source of funding, which is the federal government considering the source that was used for this matter. If I may, Chairman, Ms. April, do know that your concern was brought to my attention, and we are looking internally as to how that can be addressed for the betterment of the community and the items you raised.
Okay. My other concern is that $50,000 is still not enough. I know that the county's not responsible for this. We feel that the IID is responsible, and I will be there this afternoon to raise my issues and concerns with them. But you are our council. You are our mayors. Every other town in this community, their council and mayors fight for them. Who do we go to? Ryan Kelley is our supporter, and I know he's trying, but it's one. There's 6 people here to make a vote on that. We have to convince, you guys are our city council, you guys are our mayors. Who do we go to? Who fights for us? So we need that. We need those additional funds, because even then, if you divide those funds, I gave you a list, I did a math, and that's just 55 people. It took me 1 week. I had people helping me getting signatures. That's $1,028,560 damages, and that's only 55 people. I'm still gonna keep collecting signatures. Every claim that the people filed with the IID was denied. That isn't fair. We don't have the money to hire an attorney. Can the city council, here, the board, help us with money to hire an attorney? Because somebody has to be held responsible. We've been sending out letters for help. Literally, we're crying for help. Please help us. Please give us additional funds. If we can't do it through ARPA, look into your other programs.
Justifying that kind of a loss.
Please.
What happened?
Now, my second concern,
And Ms. Ochoa, you should wrap it up.
Okay.
You're way beyond your time.
okay, I apologize for that, and thank you. Public Works, I know they've been out there trying to help us, but there's still a lot of silt being removed from homes. There's piles of dirt outside people's homes. We're not wanting it to be, I can't say the word.
Leveled.
Leveled. No, we want it removed, because you gotta remember, the water was up to here. All that sewer, all that feces went everywhere. We don't want it spread, we want it removed. The trees, there's so many damages out there. Public Works is still not done. The potholes, the lids for the sewer, they're missing. You don't see that here in El Centro, you don't see that in the city Imperial, you don't see it. Why? Because they're bigger communities, there's more fight for them. So I'm here fighting for my township,
Thank you, Ms. Ochoa.
okay? Thank you.
Chair, comment?
Mr. Escobar?
If it's okay with Supervisor Kelley, if Ms. Ochoa could meet with our CEO, voice her concerns with detail, and see what we can do about it, that'd be great.
Excellent.
I have a question, is on this information we have, the amount of loss sustained by each individual, but there's no description of what that loss really is.
Mr. Chair? So I was able, and I know we can't take any action today, but I was able to talk with the CEO last week in regards to the requests, that there is a pathway to be able to remove the income barrier or the requirements. And the request for the additional funding can be considered at our next meeting. So I understand Mr. Ochoa, and I certainly have heard the concerns in Nyland, and we will continue to advocate to make sure that your concerns are heard, and I wish you success at your next meeting at IAD.
Can I make just one small comment regarding Mr. Kelly's question?
That will be the last. If you come up to the microphone so those online can hear, and please keep it brief.
Yes, sir. Regarding the question of the losses and damages, we do have an application, and every person that applies for this funding has to show proof. So we are going to make sure that the paper trail is that to support that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. CEO's office has direction. Going on to our next speaker.
Well, do they know the direction? Will they can be available for that discussion?
Yes, it was made verbally on the microphone
I know, but
to
did
work
they
with our
understand
CEO.
it?
Supervisor Kelley, I'll make sure that staff right now works with Ms. Ochoa so we can have that dialogue.
Okay.
Next speaker is Mr. Jacob Rodriguez.
Alrighty. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And so today I want to talk about something that's not on the agenda, but was previously reported in the Ivy Press, and this is what it relates to. Yesterday, the Attorney General of California visited the Imperial Valley, and I got the chance to meet him at the El Centro Public Library. And I handed him a letter involving our county, and it states, and I'll read it verbatim. Dear Mr. Newman, Senior Assistant Attorney General of the California Department of Justice Civil Rights Enforcement Division. Last month, your section successfully obtained a stipulated judgment which the trial court entered and approved against Kern County regarding, quote, their policies and practices related to free speech rights guaranteed under the California and the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. In that case, Kern County, particularly some members of its Board of Supervisors, were found by the DOJ investigation to have violated the free speech rights of a coalition of community organizations and a small business by refusing to enter into contracts with them because they had engaged in constitutionally protected free speech activities, specifically participating in a public debate about defunding the police and expressing their support for that. In Imperial County, we are currently experiencing something uncannily similar. However, instead of police funding being the current topic of immense public debate, it is now the Israel-Palestine conflict. On December 26, 2023, it was reported that the Imperial County then Chairman Ryan Kelley directed staff to review grants for Lithium Valley outreach. And he requested that staff perform a review into a certain specific nonprofit, which was previously mentioned in the public comments. However, this allegation is based upon an employee of the nonprofit participating in a protest on their personal time, which the organization was quick to verify or to confirm. In a phone interview, then Board Chair Ryan Kelley provided the press with several ostensibly viewpoint-neutral reasons for potentially clawing back funds and performing the review in the first place. However, there is evidence to suggest that those reasons for pursuing these adverse actions against the nonprofit are merely pretextual in nature, and that the Imperial County selectively targeted the nonprofit over their protected speech. And already, quote, Imperial County Administration and Legal Counsel are currently engaged in a detailed review of the request to ensure compliance with the policies. And it should be interesting to note that no other nonprofits were subjected to such a review. And I pressed the Attorney General on his commitment to, because shortly after the Kern County, he said, and he was quoted on the press release, he's committed to ensuring free speech throughout California and in Kern County. And I asked him, would he committed to extending that same level of enforcement to Imperial County? And he did, and I forwarded it to one of his assistants who will send it to the proper section. And I would just ask that I think the only appropriate remedy in this case is to to terminate that review, because honestly, the investigation was tainted from the beginning with an unconstitutional, there's a term to describe this in law, and it's called viewpoint discrimination. When you're a government agency, you just can't do that type of action. And I asked the board to strongly terminate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a statement to say, Mr. Chair. Mr. Rodriguez, you, in your comment, I asked for a review, and My fiduciary responsibility for the county of Imperial is to make sure that the money that is allocated is being used in the endeavor that it was agreed upon. The review is ongoing, and notice to all agencies that were awarded has been sent, but it was found that 3 agencies had not been submitting invoices, which was required under agreement monthly, and also quarterly reports, which had not been submitted. So there is cause to be reviewed. You sign an agreement, and you're to be held to it. I am not challenging anyone's free speech, but if public funds are being used in an inappropriate manner, I wanted to have that reviewed.
Thank you. And I appreciate I'm aware of that, but I still believe that's that's a pretext, and I look forward to the Attorney General's office seeing through that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
No more speakers.
Thank you. Okay, we go on to board member reports and announcements. We'll start with Supervisor Ryan Kelley.
I have nothing to say.
Thank you, Supervisor Kelley. Supervisor Michael Kelley.
Good morning. Last week I was in Sacramento attending the Rural County Representatives of California's installation of new officers and also ongoing Board of Directors meeting. We did get input from Secretary of Natural Resources, Secretary Crowfoot, and he actually highlighted Imperial County as a model county and how to go forward in dealing with issues such as the lithium, the tax base for the lithium, and where it's going. So we did get a pat on the back on that. So it was a good, productive meeting. Thursday evening, I attended the IVEDC annual dinner and banquet and report, and that's about all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Kelley. Supervisor Escobar.
Thank you, Chair. I enjoy the rain, and I did see a couple of half-a firefighters, our chief and our previous team member here for the County of Imperial, now unfortunately left for the city of Brawley. But obviously the rain kind of plays havoc on our streets and on our driving patterns because we never drive in the rain. So just be careful out there. It's still somewhat slick. And the rain really drove and then they have to have a 1 or 2 hour border wait to cross the border in Calexico. So I, with the assistance of my fellow supervisors, established a Southern Border Committee a few years back. And I want to reemphasize the importance of getting back together and working with not just local entities such as our county, such as cities, such as ICTC, but state agencies as well, name it Highway Patrol, name it Caltrans, or federal agencies, it might be GSA or CBP, or international agencies such as Sedena, SAT, as well as state and local government. This is not a Calexico problem. This is not a Mexicali problem. This is a problem that everyone that has a relative or friend that crosses the border on a consistent basis has. And it's time to stop. I mean, if you unfortunately live on one side of Calexico and have to drive to the other, I'm not exaggerating when I say this, and there's people in the audience that live in Calexico. It can take you a freaking half an hour to get from one side of the city to the other. We're not talking about people that are crossing the border. So it's time to put a stop to this. It's time to work as a cohesive unit. It's not about what he said or what she said. It's not about what is happening at the state or federal level. It's what's happening here in our local community and what's best for us. So again, I will be in the next few weeks engaging local, state, and federal authorities, along with international authorities, to assist us in trying to really try, and not just try. I think try is we've tried to fix the New River, right, Mike?
Yeah, many years.
And we still haven't fixed it, even though we're trying to. So I think try is almost a bad word. I think we really have to make a concerted effort to fix the issue once and for all. And the only way we're going to do it is if we work together. It's not about Calexico, it's not about Imperial County, it's not about Caltrans. It's about everybody coming together and fixing the problem. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Escobar. Supervisor Hawk?
Yes, let me just begin that I know that our county has a lot of challenges. There are a number of things that we need to do, and I believe that our supervisors are working on that. Let me bring your attention to another item that I think is very important. January is Sanctity of Life Month. And as a board, we shared our thoughts about this in private, and we concluded that as we concur that life is precious, we would hold our thoughts in a personal venue. So I think we need to really appreciate the fact that, you know, as we think of sanctity, we think of life, we think of the fact that we're all unique in many ways, that we need to appreciate the fact of honoring life. I'm a father of 5 and a grandfather of 16, and I can't imagine life without any one of my grandchildren or children. They're so unique and precious in God's sight. And I think you can imagine when I take them to In-N-Out Burger, what the bill is when I get them there. It gets pretty expensive. And not only that, what they order. So they're all unique. And so I would just want to say that I'm thankful as I look around this room. I've met many of you for the first time this year. And in the county, and I think of the acquaintances that I've made, and I want you to know that you are unique and blessed and appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Hawk. I myself have no comments. We've already reported on the IVEDC event. Other than that, let's go ahead and move on our agenda. Item number 8, items to be pulled from the action or discussion or consent budget calendar. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests for any items?
Yes, we do. Ms. Maritza Hurtado? She's requesting to pull item
38?
38.
Okay, so item 38 will be pulled from the consent agenda, and it will be in item number 1920 range, somewhere in there when it comes up.
20, and items pulled for discussion.
Thank you. Any urgency items to be added?
None.
Okay, I'll entertain motions for the approval of the agenda, pulling item number 38 out from consent and adding it to the discussion agenda. We have a motion by Supervisor Michael Kelley, a second by Supervisor Eduardo Escobar. Please vote. Item passes 5-0. Agenda item number 9, approval of the consent calendar as modified. We have a motion by Supervisor John Hawk, a second by Supervisor Ryan Kelley. Please vote. Item passes 5-0. Agenda item number 10 today is the approval of the consent budget calendar. We have a motion by Supervisor Michael Kelley, a second by Supervisor Eduardo Escobar. If there's no further discussion, please vote. Item passes 5-0. Item number 11, approval of the official proceedings for our meeting of January 9th, 2024. Seeming to be no discussion, we have a motion by Mr. John Hawk, a second by Supervisor Jesus Escobar. Please vote. Item passes 5-0. We go on to department announcements. We have 4 departments that I know of. We'll start with Gil.
Good morning, Board. Gil Rebler, Deputy CEO. Real brief, as the Chairman stated last meeting, mark the date, mark the calendar. Thursday, March 21st, at the Prestige Event Center in Heber will be our annual State of the County address. Invitations are going out, and they have gone out. So I just want to remind the public, remind anyone here also RSVP to the clerk of the board, Cynthia Medina. But yeah, just want to remind the people of the state of the county, the Prestige Event Center right off Highway 111 in the community of Heber. And that concludes my department announcement.
Thank you, Gil, and I look forward to seeing you all there. Lindsay, Dale with our elections department.
Good morning, Lindsay Dale, Registrar of Voters. Just a quick update on the March primary election. UOCAVA ballots, that is our military and overseas ballots, went out last week. On Thursday, the due date was for them to go out on Saturday, but we were able to do that early. We are going to begin our LNA training, which is our logic and accuracy testing on our vote machines. So we are waiting for the package to come in from our vendor. As soon as that comes in, we will start that. I'm planning to send out a letter to various organizations, the media, this board as well, to join us for a public viewing opportunity. Probably on Monday. We're waiting to see when that package comes in, and then we'll determine that date and time. So keep an eye out for that invitation. Also, our state voter information guides will be out to voters. If you haven't already received them yet, they go out in different segments from the state. So I know I haven't gotten mine yet, but it is expected somewhere between now and about E40. We are at E42 right now. That's 42 days from Election Day. And then our sample ballots will follow that as well for local issues. That's all I have for you.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Jolene Desert.
Good morning, Board. Thank you, Chair. So I'm just advising everyone that we're rolling out the Ag Benefits Scholarship for the year. So if you remember last year, it's offered to students majoring in agriculture and those attending vocational schools in seeking a career that's related to ag or in ag. So that could be welding, irrigation, electrical. So those will be rolled out. We'll be sending out notices to all of the schools, the colleges. It'll be on our website, and hopefully I'll give it to Gil so he can post it as well. So that'll be open through April 10th.
What is that website?
Oh, it's our Ag Commissioner website, so I'll get that out to everybody.
Okay, thank you. Chief. Looks like he's got a briefcase full of money for us.
Good morning. In case you haven't noticed, we received a little rain yesterday. Rainfall totals ranged from, throughout the county, from just over ½ inch to 1.2. Mostly what we encountered with our personnel was roadway flooding sporadic throughout the county, as did many of the cities. Thank you.
Questions? No? Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Thank you. All right, we'll go on to agenda item 13, recognitions of the 2024 MLK Stone of Hope Award. If members will join me down. You want to get in here?
Line up.
You want to get in here?
Are we standing up here?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, on both sides.
All right.
Come on. Yeah. So before we get started in doing these presentations, tell us a little bit about the award, what it means.
Okay. I'm quite sure all of you have heard the name of Martin Luther King and all. And we've always in our community have celebrated Martin Luther King holiday. And now we've made a turn about in 2014 when they did the memorial in Washington, D.C. And so now we call it the Martin Luther King Stone of Hope. It is as you can see, a lot of people always think black when you say Martin Luther King, but we are engaged in a multicultural award event, and this has been forever, you know. So those people that you see standing here today, it was not given to them. We vet them. We vet, are they really making a difference, or are they my best friend, and all that. So that it's very special to us and it's very meaningful, and they aspire to the principles of Dr. Martin Luther King, and that's why we're here today.
Thank you, Marlene. So first off, we're going to recognize Daniel Vega. Daniel here. Okay, we'll make sure he gets it. So we'll be an exercise in document management. Next up, we have Pastor Gregory Brown and Anthony Arevalo. Here we are. We'll take a picture in just a minute. We'll take a group picture in just a minute as we pass them out. Erica Aguilar. This is for Mr. Luis Castro. Which side did Luis? Young man. Boy, this one I gotta look to see where she is. Barry, congratulations, Barry Smith B. Next one goes to Maxine Cannon.
Ms. Cannon is up in age, and this weather change, she's not here today. But for those of you who may not know Maxine Cannon, that she is the wife of the former Jimmy Cannon.
So let us know if one of us needs to go present it personally. I myself would be happy to do so, and anybody that wants to join. Yeah, sure. Next one goes to Marlene Molly Swinigan Salgado. Next up, we have Maria Isabel Serrano. She's over here. I saw her. Okay, Mr. Rodelo Juan, I know he's here. You should be also, congratulations. You should be also taking pictures of it. Thank you. And last but not least, are the ones that are here, Juan Ulloa.
His daughter's here.
They're not.
His daughter's here.
If any of you would like to say anything before we take pictures, you're welcome to do so. Just give me a sign. None? Okay, quiet bunch. Gil, do your thing.
Just a little bit.
Squeeze in. Come on, squeeze in. Get. Squeeze right in. Come on this way. There you go.
Ready? 1, 2, and.
All right, thank you very much, and once again, congratulations.
Oh, okay. Right.
Oh, probably the most difficult ballot of the day. lost two. So as we get going with the items, please know that we have a time-certain public hearing at 11 a.m. And so we may split these items to before and after in order to get as close to that 11 starting time as we can. We will go ahead and go on to our action calendar, item number 14. This is a discussion action item regarding an agreement with services with Geo Reentry Services, LLC. Chief Prince, you'll be presenting on this. Good morning.
Yes, and with me is our business manager, Catherine Politecchi.
Morning, Catherine.
Also in the audience, Mr. Chairman and honorable members of the board, Carlos Contreras, who is the site manager for Geo Reentry Services. And we're here today to ask for your approval for a 3-year contract and renewal of our day reporting center's behavior modification program, which has very proficiently been managed by the Geo Group for the last 10 years. This is a 3-year contract. Approximate cost is $740,000 per year. There are no general fund monies involved. The funding source is AB 109 through state realignment funds.
I'll make a motion for approval. I think it's a dynamic program, and keep up the good work, you all.
Any comments, questions from members of this body? We have a motion made by Supervisor Michael Kelley, a second by John Hawk. If there's no additional discussion or public comment on this item, we will go ahead and take a vote. Item passes 5-0. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank the board for your continued support for giving offenders a second chance in the community. Thank you.
Item number 15 is a discussion action item. This is a resolution of the Board of Supervisors related to hiring of 1 senior deputy public defender at step F as required by our public defender, Mr. Solorio. This will be presented by this office. Good morning.
Good morning. Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Daniel Rosenberg. I'm the Assistant Public Defender here in Imperial County. The Public Defender's Office represents indigent defendant clients. We also represent mental health clients, children within the juvenile delinquency system, but also we represent the foster youth of Imperial County, meaning that we represent the children that have been removed from their of their trials. Those are unprecedented numbers. We are constantly battling retention and recruitment, but we have been able to hire 2 new attorneys in October. We've been able to hire a 3rd attorney this month. He should start next week or a week after that. And we have a 4th attorney ready and available should the board pass this agenda item. This applicant is no stranger to Imperial County. He has practiced here in the past. I've heard one of the local judges refer to him as one of the best trial attorneys he has seen in his entire career. We have been recruiting this applicant for months. He is currently employed in San Diego County, and he is willing to come back. He is going to be taking a pay decrease. We're asking the board to minimize that as much as possible. There will be no cost to the general fund. This will be completely within the 2023 and 2024 fiscal budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from members of this body?
Nope.
Any public comment on this item? Being none, I'll bring it back. I do have a question. What's the staffing number that you are budgeted for, and where are you at right now?
I believe we have, and I'm not positive about the total number, we're allowed to get up to, I believe, 17 attorneys. We currently have 6 attorneys that are hired. We have a 7th one that is about to begin. We have the 8th attorney ready to go over here. We also have what are called 2 post-bar applicants who are from out of county, who are going to be coming here. They have taken the bar, I believe, at the beginning of next month, and they are ready to start if and when they do pass the bar at that time.
Excellent. I'm glad to see progress is being made on
We
filling
really
those
have been
spots.
thinking outside of the box. We've been recruiting heavily in other counties, and thank God we've had a lot of success as of late.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rosenberg. With that, I have a motion with Supervisor John Hawk, a second by Supervisor Michael Kelley. Please vote. Item passes 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Sir. Moving on to agenda item number 16. This is a discussion of our meeting calendar for 2024. Should be for discussion in this body. I had copies put in the agenda for your consideration. This is the time of the year when we look at some of the different conferences that we will be attending, different meetings that we will be attending, and try to kind of give a heads up of some of the days that we may be dark or may be
It's all subject to
here.
adjustment down the road depending on circumstances.
It always is. It always is. Obviously, you know, there's things that happen that make us reactive to either cancellation or adding something, and so that is always on the table. One item we had discussed, there was a possibility of going to DC March 4th through the 8th. That has changed to the week of May 13th through the 17th. And so I would ask that we look at whatever changes we recommend today, we look at ratifying them next week, just to make sure that any post-reflection is looked at. Is there anything else that you would consider putting on here?
The living document.
Living document, okay. Supervisor Hawk? Mr. Figueroa?
May is going to be a tough month for me, but regardless.
Mr. Figueroa, any comments?
Every month's a tough month for me.
One thing that I do want to point out, Chairman, is that we've also included the proposed budget dates on the top right corner of the calendar. That way we show what the schedule is looking like on that end.
Perfect. Okay. Because this is a living document, this is subject to come back for update as the year goes by. So we have a motion by Supervisor Ryan Kelley, a second by Supervisor Mike Kelley. Please vote. Item passes. Committee appointments, item number 17 would be committee appointments. This is an opportunity when we get to look at about the dozen-plus committees and boards that we serve on and try to make any changes as needed. As my last year in service, I'd be happy to give up all 10, 12 that I have to anybody that will even look this way, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Only 12?
Yeah, well, those are committees, right? Any proposed changes?
Yeah, as I discussed with you personally, I think that another face, a newer face, Mr. Hawk is serving on the 2-on-2 with Imperial Irrigation District. And so I would, after a while on that, I would like to step away and allow someone else to participate.
I've had the experience of the 2-on-2 meeting, and I would like to offer that experience to someone else. It's very interesting and very, hopefully productive, hopefully.
Okay. Any other requests for any other changes? All right, so since this is a rather extensive list, what I like to do is an opportunity to have Supervisor Escobar and myself discuss the two-on-two, whether it be him or it be me, or we have Supervisor Hawk just pay extra attention at every meeting and do the two. Which I
No,
don't think it'll work.
I would rather have someone with me.
Yeah.
I don't want to go in there alone.
Yeah. So I like to bring this one back for the next meeting and just to make sure that we have additional information on that. Next item, agenda item number 18 is the rules for this body. There is a document in your agendas that discusses all the rules that we try to work by and adhere to so that we can cohesively work. I did not receive much or if any input from the group. Once again, I like to invite all of you or any of you to submit any changes that you would like to change or make to the clerk of the board's office or the CEO's office or both, so that we may bring back this next week and take a look at it. There are some items that I found on it that just as times have changed, this still heavily addresses in-person meetings. There are now issues for public comment online that we did not have before, so updates such as that. It does address an issue where right now it requires one board member to put something on the agenda. I think that I would feel more comfortable seeing or proposing that we go to two. There's a couple other items, so I will make sure that a notated suggested changes goes out. Please let us know of any changes that you would like. I know at one time Supervisor Hawk had looked at the possibility of a start time change, but this is the opportunity for all of us to have that conversation. And so we'll bring this item back as well next week.
So that'll be next week to vote on.
Next week to vote on, right.
I like your idea of two requesting items on the board instead of an independent individual.
Cynthia, we're dark next week, correct?
That is correct. Our next meeting would be February 6th.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for catching that. I would have been real lonely in this room next
By
Tuesday.
yourself.
Yeah,
Without
by
a breakfast
myself.
burrito.
Yeah. Also in your agendas, or not in your agendas, in your emails, you probably have committee assignments if you have not gotten them. These are people within our district that we have assigned to various districts throughout the years. There has been a redistricting that happened a couple years ago, and I don't think that we have reconsidered some of the members that we have appointed that may have changed where now district-wise they belong. So
why are some of the names highlighted in red and some not?
I do not know. In my document specifically, they are all in red.
Not mine.
It might have been just a typo of not highlighting in red. We just included all the names in red.
Okay.
Some of them have also had terms that have expired, at least on mine, and they have gone on a month-to-month service basis, if you will. So I'd like to invite you all to revisit this list, and maybe this is an opportunity to talk to some of those committee members and see if they wish to continue to serve.
So if we have another name or an alternate, we'll get with the clerk of the board's office and have them update our list.
That would be the case also, for example, in the case of redistricting, that may put somebody, say, in my district, no longer eligible, but who you had now eligible in my district, and that would be more of a correction of what district they're covering. But it'd be a good opportunity for us to clean it up going forward.
You know, so some of the people I've appointed in different committees, are they still active? I mean, I saw one that I appointed back in 20-something, and as long as they're still active, then that's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so we'll bring that back as well in 2 weeks. So with that, we will go ahead and take a couple minutes to go ahead and get ready for, no, I take that back. There is an item that was pulled for discussion. However, we're coming up. I did not want to go forward without recognizing it. We do have a public hearing coming up that it's time certain, so we'll go ahead and get ready for that. Mr. Minnick and your team, if you can start getting ready for this. Here we are.
Take a minute. Yep.
Okay, we will now get started on agenda item number 22. This is a public hearing to consider public input regarding the following actions as recommended by the Planning Commission for the Green Valley Logistics Center period. Mr. Minnick, I'll go ahead and let you address item 8 through F as they are being presented.
Thank you. Jim Minnick, Imperial County Planning Director. Good morning, Board of Supervisors. Before you is a project called Green Valley Logistics Center. It's been submitted by Tomcat Development LLC, and the request is to develop an area of the Mesquite Lake specific plan. As you recall, Mesquite Lake was approved as a specific plan back in the early 2000s. This is a property that's located on the west side of the railroad, east of 86. And what's involved in it is the development of a intermodal. Actually, it's like 3 tracks, 3 spurs that come out together as opposed to an oval. You've seen the oval intermodals we have in Calapat. It's a little bit different, same setup. Essentially, that's the major project. That also would include some warehousing in the future and a fuel depot and so forth. One of the things that's of note is this is the geographical area. What's in front of you is a zone change and a general plan amendment to amend the specific plan to allow this project to happen. This is how it looks right now. The left of your screen is the existing zoning. The heavy industrial is the dark color. Medium industrial is the light color, and the turquoise or greenish, whatever you want to call it, is government special public. It's a portion of the existing cemetery. To your right is the proposed change. It's converting most of it back to a heavy industrial to allow for the intermodal and shrinking down the government special public. As part of the project, we're proposing a 23-unit track map along with a height variance to allow for taller structures and, of course, a water assessment that was approved. The project was environmentally assessed and also went to the Planning Commission with a recommendation to approve at your on December 13th to your thing. We're going to have the environmental consultant come up and speak on the project's environmental review.
Good morning, Board. This presentation is on the MND and initial study. As previously stated, applicant is Tomcat Development. Next slide, please.
You have control.
Oh, sorry about that. There we go. As previously shown, here's the project location. A reiteration of the project description. And not to reiterate or belabor the point, but here's more of the project description. Here is the site plan with the 23 lots. And getting into the environmental analysis, the initial study covered the gamut of Appendix G of the CEQA guidelines. Here are all the resource areas that were analyzed within the initial study. Additional technical studies to support the findings of the initial study in MND include a noise technical report, a GHG emissions technical report, an energy analysis, a biological technical report, an air quality analysis, a water supply assessment, and a VMT and transportation impact analysis. Resource areas resulting in no impact or less than significant were aesthetics, recreation, utilities and service systems, agriculture and forestry resources, greenhouse gas emissions, land use and planning, population and housing, wildfire, energy, and mineral resources. Resource areas resulting in less than significant with mitigation incorporated, meaning these resource areas required mitigation to reduce the impacts to less than significant, include air quality, biological resources, cultural resources, geology and soils, hazards and hazardous materials, hydrology and water quality, public services, transportation, tribal cultural resources, and utility and service systems. It's important to note here that many of these mitigation measures were required as part of the Mesquite Lake Specific Plan, FEIR, at the time it was adopted. The next number of slides go over the mitigation strategies included to reduce the impacts to less than significant. Going down the list, again, the items that are numerical are from the Mesquite Lake Specific Plan, and therefore are mitigation required under the purview of that. The mitigation measures starting with MM are conditions put on this project. So in addition to what was required under the Mesquite Lake Specific Plan, as part of the project and under mitigation measure air quality 1, they will also be required to prepare a haul route plan. Biological resources, there are many. We tried to group them so that it's a bit more clear, but generally speaking, providing flagging and fencing that will be removed upon completion of construction, providing an environmental education program for all personnel training, in other words, a WEEP training, otherwise known as a WEEP training rather, a number of mitigation measures specific to burrowing owls and other sensitive species, cultural resource mitigation strategies include monitoring during construction and further surveying unless previously surveyed. Geology and soils, these are all requirements that came out of the Mesquite Lake Specific Plan. And hazards and hazardous materials. Hydrology and water quality. And if I move on from any of these too quickly, please let me know and I can go back. Public services. And transportation. More transportation, mitigation, tribal, and that concludes the mitigation. A little bit about the AB 52 outreach. In accordance with AB 52, tribal consultation was conducted, notices were sent out on the dates, and responses were requested by the date identified there. And the Kashan tribe and Fort Yuma Reservation were the only tribes to respond, noting that they have no comments on the project. Sorry, utility and service system mitigation. And wildfire. In conclusion, the initial study failed to identify any potentially significant impacts that could not be mitigated to a level less than significant, and all impacts would be reduced.
According to Khan Academy, to find the perimeter of a shape, you add up the lengths of all the sides. For a square or pentagon, it's even easier. You can multiply the length of one side by the number of sides to get the total perimeter.
And the conclusion of that, and the public review period. Was from August 22nd to September 20th. 2 public comment letters were received, identified there. And that concludes my presentation. Any questions?
According to Amerisleep, for most homes though, a queen-size mattress is the most popular option, but plenty of people opt to go smaller with full-size mattresses or larger kings.
Any questions? Still not? Okay.
Yeah, where's he at? How come he's not standing right here?
I've got a baby on the way, Supervisor Kelley.
So you're in the
I need to
hospital
stay
waiting,
Very, very close to my wife right now.
Very good man, good man.
Congratulations.
Thank you all very much.
So with that, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing portion of this. I don't see any speakers who requested to speak ahead of time.
Mr.
Cynthia, is
Chair,
that correct?
I have a question. Have they talked, you haven't talked about the water issue yet? The water?
There was a water assessment
study?
done, and it was approved by IAD.
Okay.
It's part of your packet.
So, and right, so the need for water is very minimal, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Probably 190
But it's 180 acre.
180 acre feet or whatever, okay. So that's not an issue and everything is?
Not to my understanding, no.
Okay.
Okay, there then appearing to be no public comment on this item, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and we will entertain motions. County Council, are these one lump sum, or do they have to be individual?
That's why we're recommending separate motions at this time, Chair.
Okay. So at this time, I'll entertain motions for item 22A to adopt a resolution for the approval of the water supply assessment. We have a motion by Supervisor Michael Kelley, a second by Supervisor John Huck. Please vote. Item passes 5-0. Item number 22B is to adopt a resolution for the approval of the mitigated negative declaration with a mitigated monitoring and reporting program. We have a motion by Supervisor Hawk, a second by Supervisor Escobar. Please vote. Item passes 5-0. Going on to agenda item 22C, adopt a resolution for the approval of the specific plan amendment number 21-0001. Motion by Supervisor Michael Kelley, second by Supervisor Hawk. Please vote. Item passes 5-0. 22D is adopt ordinance for the approval of the zone change number 21-0005. We have a motion by Supervisor Hawk, second by Supervisor Escobar. Please vote. Item passes 5-0. 22E, adopt resolution for the approval of track map number 00993 with the conditions. Motion by Supervisor Michael Kelley, second by Supervisor Escobar. Please vote. Item passes. Last item, 22F, adopt a resolution for the approval of variance number 23-0007. We have a motion by Supervisor Ryan Kelley, a second by Supervisor Jesus Escobar. Please vote. Item passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manick.
I did want to highlight one of the conditions on this development, and Mr. Minnick, can you elaborate, is Memory Gardens and some improvements for the cemetery that has gone defunct.
Yes, the applicant also owns the cemetery, and he's already been doing a lot of work with providing water to it, fixing all of that stuff, and I believe there's also a memorial being proposed, correct? If you want to come up and give a little bit more details.
Yeah,
You can use this microphone over here if you wish.
I spoke with him, and he said they are going to be good neighbors to the cemetery, correct? You want to be a bad neighbor to the cemetery? You don't want to be a resident.
I think John Moyola, 2354 Mellon Road. My board probably has a spot out there for me already, but yes, we are working to green memory gardens up. There's been a faithful volunteer that's been going and watering all the trees. We're looking into putting in irrigation and trying to bring some green to it. And we're actually adding a few acres to put in Veterans Memorial Park because there are veterans out there buried.
And you have water access already out the site, right?
Yes, yes. And there's power out there too.
Okay, well, if possible, I'd like to get updates on how that's going.
Yes.
Because you and I talked out there several times, and you know it's in desperate need of improvement.
Yes, we and just thank you to everybody in the county and helping us. We were able to get the water out there quickly and the power. Now we're going to continue making it look better and make it so that for everybody that's out there and their families.
I'll hold you to that.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, that concludes that item. We will now go to agenda item number 23. This is to conduct a public hearing to consider public input regarding appeal number 230004 of the December 13, 2023 Planning Commission's decision of approval for Hell's Kitchen Power Company 1 LLC and Hell's Kitchen Lithium Company 1 LLC as submitted by Control Thermal Resources, Inc. Just for those that are planning on speaking during comments, there are forms in the back that you must turn in. There is a limit per total public comment, so if you have not added a form, you can do so, and we will try to accommodate as many of you as possible. With that, Mr. Minnick.
Okay. Jim Minnick, Pro County Planning Director. So before you is a project. It is an appeal of an approved project by the Planning Commission on December 13th. Project is a geothermal plant. It is being proposed by Controlled Thermal Resources. It also includes a lithium extraction facility. Located on either side of Alcott Road, on the west side of Davis Road. So before you, as noted earlier, is a water assessment, an environmental document, mitigation monitoring program, conditional use permits for both the geothermal plant as well as the lithium extraction, and variance for height. The lithium extraction proposes to extract 20,000 metric tons, and the geothermal plant, in accordance with the California Energy Commission allowances, is proposed to be a 49.9 megawatt net to the grid, which is under our purview. What we're going to do next is we're going to have Thomas Strand from Chambers Group come up and talk about the environmental, and then after him we'll have Mike Bracken on the county's economist to talk about his presentation.
Good morning, Board. Thomas Strand with Chambers Group, the county's environmental consultant on this project. So we will be talking about the final the environmental process, the final EIR, and the mitigation included within the MMRP as required through CEQA. Project description here: Hell's Kitchen is proposing Hell's Kitchen Power Co. 1 and also Hell's Kitchen Lithium Co. 1. Development of 49.9 megawatts of geothermal power, and and it involves the development of mineral extraction and processing facilities capable of producing lithium hydroxide, silica, and polymetallic products, and possibly boron compounds for commercial sale. The power and lithium production facilities are located in an area that is zoned SG1, SG2, and S2GPE, S1G, S2G, and M2GPE allows for geothermal exploration with an approved conditional use permit. The project site is within the Imperial County's agricultural land use designation. The project would require zoning variances for the structures above 35 feet, including 2 lime silos up to 60 feet tall, the evaporator structure up to 80 feet tall, and the cooling towers up to 50 feet tall, the crystallizers, which will be 80 to 110 feet tall, and the electrical power line and transmission structures up to 120 feet.
Madam Clerk, can you give a hand with the next slide?
It's not advancing. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. So continuing with the project location, the development area of the project would be approximately 68 acres. The majority of the proposed HKP1 and HKL1 facilities are located immediately west of Davis Road, and the Gentile line for H8 Hell's Kitchen Power 1 will run from Knopfsinger Road here again is the project location as previously shown. Here are the facilities, both HPK1 and Lithium Co1 as delineated on the map. Project activities, this is a reiteration of project description. Environmental analysis, an initial study was prepared for the proposed project, and here are the resource areas that we analyzed within the initial study. Here is a list of the additional technical studies prepared, including air quality reports, cultural reports, a number of different biological resource reports, geotechnical, hydrology, visual simulations, water supply assessment, water quality, traffic, hazards, and noise. Here are the resource areas that were analyzed in the initial study that were determined to result in a no impact or less than significant. And here are the resource areas that required mitigation to reduce the impacts to less than significant. And here is a list of air quality mitigation strategies that are included within the MMRP. And please let me know if anybody would like to go back. And for biological resources, and cultural resources, geology and soils, which also includes paleontological resources, as you'll see there. Hazards and hazardous materials. Hydrology and water quality. And utility and service systems. And a recap of public review. EIR was circulated from August 30th to October 23rd. Comments were accepted on the draft EIR up to November 30th. 12 comment letters were received. The commenters are listed here and here. And that concludes the presentation. Any questions, comments at this time?
Questions or comments from this body? Not yet. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Give 1 second here. Good morning, Honorable Chair, members of the Board of Supervisors. My name is Mike Bracken, and before we begin, because this is part of your administrative record, it's important that I go for my qualifications, so indulge me. I serve as the managing partner of Development Management Group Incorporated. We're founded in 2003. I also serve as the chief economist. By education, I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. The master's in public policy, the bachelor's is in economics and finance. I've testified before Congress on both empowerment zones and workforce development. I assisted in drafting the payroll protection, otherwise known as the PPP, during the pandemic. Those were a few sleepless nights. I serve as an expert witness in both state and federal courts. I've testified before the California State Legislature, as many of you have. I also have obviously testified before numerous county and local governments. I also serve as an expert economist for the Southern California Association of Governments and have completed literally hundreds of fiscal and economic impact analysis. Again, I serve as an independent economist contracted by the county to do a fiscal and economic impact analysis of the project that's before you today. So let me make sure this scrolled correctly. 1 second. Let's go back one. Okay. In April of 2023, we produced this economic impact analysis along with the fiscal impact analysis and the job impact analysis on the two projects, the combined projects of what you call Lithium Co-1 and Power Co-1. As your environmental consultant told you, it's approximately 640 acres, 49.9 megawatts net to grid of energy, and 20,000 metric tons annually of lithium extraction. The project is designed on the energy side to provide base load power to the residents of the state of California. This, of course, is part of the ongoing legislation that the state has passed for green energy and to get ourselves away from things like coal and oil and other things. The project that's before you today, by my calculations, is a $1.2+ billion initial investment. Let me say that again, $1.2 billion initial investment. And as I'm sure the proponent can tell you, the cost for that project rise just about every day, as does the cost of everything else. So we did 3 analyses for you, and let me just describe them briefly. One's an economic impact analysis. So imagine what the economic impacts are of this project to the entire county, not just the county as a municipal corporation, but to the entire county, meaning the taxpayers, the residents, the businesses, the landowners. The second is what we call a job or an employment impact analysis, where we're looking at both construction jobs and also the permanent jobs. And the third of which is the fiscal impact analysis, meaning how will it impact your budget as a county, as a municipal corporation. And the idea of doing a fiscal impact is to make sure a project does not cost the taxpayers more than is being produced in tax revenue. So we'll go with one quick slide for each of these. On the economic impacts, we look at the construction labor, the operational labor, local construction purchases, local operation ongoing purchases, and the impacts from the land purchases. Over the next 30 years of this project, if it is approved and ultimately built, it'll have over a $1.6 billion economic impact to this region, to the Imperial County region, Imperial Valley, as some refer to it. The next are the job and employment impacts. We look at a couple things there. One is what is the construction impacts, and two is what is the permanent job creation. On the construction side, this project will generate 250 full-time equivalent jobs lasting 2 years. That means on average, on any given day, there'll be 250 construction workers on site working to build the project. Now, let me hit something, the nail, so to speak, on something. I often hear in these public testimonies and these public hearings about how construction jobs are temporary. Yet, I'm old, hence why there's nothing left up here, okay? Hair-wise, hopefully the brain's still working. But something that's very important, how many of us know construction workers who started out as that temporary job 30 years ago, and over 30 years go from one temporary job, construction job, to the next temporary job, construction job, and they've made a career of it? That's indicative of the construction industry. We also look at the operational jobs. This company will be producing approximately 75 full-time operational jobs for this facility. They will be working in and around that facility every day. By the way, the average wage of those jobs, not benefits, just the wage, in today's dollars, 2023 dollars, because we did this analysis late last year, the 2023 dollars are $87,000 a year is what the average full-time job will pay at that facility. But finally, let's go to the fiscal impacts, which I know is important to the 5 of you. This is a significant project in terms of the economic and the fiscal impacts to you. Overall, this project will create almost $500 million of tax revenue to the county. Additionally, just in the lithium tax, what we call the SB 125 tax, this will generate $158 million to the state of California from the lithium tax that they have the ability, meaning the state of California, to put into various programs and projects of their choosing. The $496 million breaks down about $8.5 million in sales tax, about $12.5 million or $12.75 million in property tax over the 30 years. So you can see those are fairly minor. And then the bulk of it, of course, is in the lithium or the extraction tax. We also look at the other side. Okay, here's how much revenue you have coming in. How much is it going to cost you to support this project? And our calculations are about $42 million over those 30 years. So you can see a net benefit to the county with this project, with the lithium tax in place, with sales tax, and with property tax of about $450 million. Now, there are some recommendations as part of this that were in the full report. These are very similar recommendations we have for all of this. One is the county would have assurances through the conditions of approval or through some type of an operating agreement that the point of sale for the construction materials is the job site. Now, in the state of California, if a job site has more than $5 million of construction materials headed to it, and certainly this project does, then the point of sale can be designated as the actual job site. The second part of this is the county would enter into agreements with the proponent to not challenge the property tax bills based on the depreciation schedules in our report, which are based on information we receive from them, also relative to allowing the land to increase in value at the 2% cap, which is under Prop 13, which most land does. And that finally, that what we call Hell's Kitchen internally, Lithium Co. 1, Power of Co. 1, would agree with compliance with SB 125s, which you need to do with this state law, or a like amount in net proceeds to the County of Imperial. So that's the end of our report based on our independent findings. And I'll be available at the end of your public hearing or now at your disposal to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Brecken.
Jim, anybody else on your team presenting at this time?
No. Okay. So now we will go ahead and hear from the appellant on this item. Please step forward. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Chair and board members. My name is Jordan Sisson. I'm a land use CEQA attorney here representing Comite, who is the appellant here. I will be the only one speaking for us. I think maybe 3 to 5 minutes should suffice. but I defer to the chairman in terms of how much time to be allotted. In my limited time, I want to hit just 5 quick points. First, like the board here, COMITE is very excited about the lithium industry and the opportunities that it can hold. It can be part of the solution of the state and the national climate crisis, and can be a great engine of economic development. We agree. However, COMITE is opposed to this take it or leave it approach that CTR has unfortunately placed upon the county at this stage. These issues have been addressed in numerous comment letters that's in the record, that has been presented in our appeal, during the draft EIR, even over the past few weekend days as we were digesting the staff report. The board is in a unique position here where the board can kind of serve as a peacemaker. They can provide the opportunity and the space for the parties to meet and incorporate a lot of these great things that have been promised on the dais. A continuance of 30 days is something that this board could ask of CTR, and CTR could come up right here and agree to it and provide a nice off-ramp for everybody. That's my first point, and I think it's a very critical point. Second, I want to stress that this EIR is deeply flawed. As I stated, we submitted multiple comment letters, including multiple expert comments, that despite, and contrary to claims otherwise, have not been addressed individually in the final EIR or in the response to the appeal. It has not. Multiple comment letters submitted have not been responded to. That is a fact. In my little time, I just want to kind of highlight some of the big issues. You heard about operation and throughput. There's nothing to really limit lithium extraction beyond those limits. There are not the conditions of approval or the mitigation measures that protect that. Most alarming is that this project refuses to acknowledge that 3 known projects will over-allocate the amount of water that IID has set aside for non-ag industrial uses. Their explanation is that the projects are more than a mile away. We all know that that is plainly irrelevant, whether or not the project is a mile away when it draws from the same bucket of water. The EIR does not address this squarely. Also troubling is that you cannot just assume that this is just another geothermal operation. It's lithium extraction. It is novel. It is recognized as novel. It has been untested at the levels that are being proposed. The EIR does not acknowledge that. It does not come to terms with the fact that there are areas of unknown. And you cannot simply say that it's not going to be a significant impact because it's speculative. No, there needs to be far stronger safeguards and reviews, data monitoring, to ensure that as this industry evolves and best practices evolve, that this project will evolve with it and make sure that the public and the county has those safeguards. Moreover, none of these CEQA issues have been addressed by, again, the final EIR, the response to the appeal, or this last-minute mitigation measure just alerted to our office last night or at 3 p.m. By email regarding mitigation measure utility 1 regarding water. Does not address the fundamental flaws in this CEQA document. So we just discussed some of the substantive issues with this project. It also is procedurally not gone, it's gone awry. My client has given every opportunity to work with CTR, given ample opportunities to meet with my client, and they have refused to. I just want to highlight some of those opportunities. Was there any meaningful outreach by CTR when we submitted NOP, Notice of Preparation comments? No. Did we get any meaningful outreach when we submitted detailed draft EIR comments, including multiple expert comments? No, nothing. Did we get a call when they finished their final EIR and they went before the Planning Commission? No outreach. Nor was there an outreach during the holiday season when my client was forced over the holiday weekend to submit an appeal. Was there any meaningful outreach from CTR at that point? No, they did not. Instead, they insisted on a real perfunctory response and forcing the county's hand here today, demanding this hearing. Lastly, just in the last 30 days, they've announced that this is not their only project. I'm not just talking about 20 metric tons of lithium and one geothermal lithium extraction project. They've announced a giant campus where this is just one of 7 stages. Did they reach out to us to let us know about this plan? Was it alluded to in the EIR? No. So respectfully, we've given every ample opportunity to meet with the experts, to try to have a solution, but they haven't done so. They've forced the issue onto this honorable board, which is unfortunate. My 4th point is that, again, we are excited about lithium extraction economically as well as its usage to meet the state's goals, but it is nevertheless an extractive industry in a disadvantaged community. The fact of the matter is there's mitigation measures, project alternatives, and public benefits that are left off the table. They could have been codified in a development agreement with real enforceability. That's an option that the county had. That was an option that CTR could agree to, that process, but they have not. That is what's at stake. It is not, we're not here to kill projects for the sake of killing projects. This appeal really matters. My 5th point is that, again, you guys can serve as a peacemaker. You heard today some economic promises, something like $1 billion investment, all this tax revenue. You even heard some recommendations about things that could be codified. You know, those are a lot of promises I hear, but that's not the same thing as a development agreement. That's not the same thing as putting pen to paper and saying, hey, we're going to put our names behind this. We're going to make sure it's enforceable and make sure that the county and the public has an opportunity to really enforce those. Now, long after the construction jobs are constructed, it's the county and the residents and the EJ communities that are going to suffer the potential impacts. And I don't think anybody could be honest with this honorable body to say that we know absolutely everything's going to happen in the future. We don't. Not for this novel industry. We're not just talking about another cattle farm. We're not talking about just another hotel. This is a novel industry, and we need to provide safeguards. We are with the county here in the sense that we don't want to be here in this take it or leave approach. And you guys can ask CTR to come up and say, hey, you know, it seems like you have a lot of promises. There's some still outstanding issues. Will you agree to a continuance? 30 days or date to be determined. Let's the experts work these out. Let's put pen to paper and make sure that we flush these out because it's so important to get it right now. Because if they don't, it's forcing the county into a position. And it's also forcing my client into a position where we can no longer work cooperatively. CTR has put us in a situation where they've ignored every off-ramp that we have offered and forcing my client to submit a notice of intent to file an action, which we don't want. We don't want to do that. We want to work with the county to make sure this project is done right. So with that, in closing, I hate being up here. I hate being up here forced in a situation where you're forced to take it or leave it from this developer. 30 days is not that long to get this right. Because as you heard, 30 years. It's going to be very difficult to unwind this. And so I really respectfully request that you ask CTR for the continuance, and we can continue this conversation, 30 days, date to be determined, and so we could work together collectively. Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you the very best in your decision making. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any comments or questions before I open the public hearing? Okay, being none, I will go ahead and open the public hearing portion of this item. We have, I'll let the clerk of the board do the traffic management. Yes, Jim?
Did you want the applicant to speak?
I am sorry. I oversaw that. Is the applicant here, and does a representative of the applicant want to speak before I open the public hearing? I almost forgot.
Well, good morning. My name is Jim Turner. I am the president of Controlled Thermal Resources, and I've been associated with this project for probably almost 10 years now. Rod Caldwell, our CEO, originally came out here around 2011-ish, looking at the geothermal resource at the Salton Sea to see if it was something that he would be interested in trying to develop? And luckily for us, he said yes, and off we went. I met Rod about 2014, and he had a vision that if we could get a hold of that portion of the geothermal reservoir, which is on the north side of Red Island in the west side of Davis Road, that we could develop that and at the same time eliminate or severely decrease a dust emission that was going to arrive as a result of the shoreline of the Salton Sea receding. And just to reply to one remark that I heard already today, if you go back in time, we talked about developing that area, and we had plans that we drew up to try to meet his vision that would not only put a clean energy campus in place with whether it was our plants or somebody else's facilities out there, but it would eliminate the dust emissions every place that we put our foot down. And that's a concept. That's a vision that he had. It's a concept today. And one of the documents that was submitted, I think, in the last few days by the appellate has a diagram that must have been pulled right off of our website. And I would encourage you to look in the lower right-hand corner because it clearly states this is a concept. Right now, we've developed stage one, which is the project that's before you. We think we did an excellent job on the CEQA analysis for that project with the county's consultant. We stand by it. We do not agree to any continuance at all. So I'll stop there, and then maybe at the end, if you have any questions at all, I'm more than happy to respond to those.
Thank you, sir. Okay, with that, I will go ahead and now open the public hearing portion. We do have some requests to speak. Cynthia, if you will help me, since you have the list of the in the orders that they came in.
Yes. First speaker is Dr. Mark Alaska.
Thank you. Thank you, Board. My name is Dr. Mark Laska. I'm the founder and the CEO of Great Ecology. We are an environmental and design firm based in San Diego for 22 years now. Excuse me. We're consultants to Controlled Thermal Resources, and I'm here today to express support for the Hell's Kitchen geothermal project. My firm first worked for CTR about 6 or 7 years ago, and we've been working intensively with the company for 3 years on many, many aspects of the environmental elements of the project. Some of them are extremely complicated, and I brought my staff. I've got 6 people here that are deeply embedded with Controlled Thermal Resources on working to solve as many of the environmental issues associated with not just the project, but with the area. We heard about one, dust suppression. CTR holds itself to the highest environmental standards and has engaged our firm to support their regulatory requirements, such as the permitting, the compliance, and the design of the habitat mitigation project that is planned for the site. It's going to be a very large and fantastic habitat that will create just phenomenal environmental resources and dust suppression for the region. As you've already heard, the project brings jobs to the valley and will be a safe domestic source of lithium with extremely low greenhouse gas emissions. The project seeks to protect the habitat and will mitigate any areas with unavoidable impacts. On behalf of my firm and my staff, I really want to express my strong support for the HKG project. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Cynthia, can you give us the next 2? That way they can start staging at the separate microphones.
Yes. Next speaker would be Sean Wilcock and then Sean Ellis.
Mr. Wilcock, Mr. Ellis.
Good morning, Chairman Plancarte, members of the board. My name is Sean Wilcock, representing IVEDC this morning. I've had the pleasure of working alongside the CTR folks for nearly 13 years, I believe it is. And I have absolute faith in their abilities to pull this project off in a safe and environmentally friendly way. You know, we already have CEQA, and we have a very savvy planning department led by Jim Minnick. And I have full faith in their abilities to make sure that this project remains compatible with the community. I've also been very involved with CTR and other companies in the industry in bringing them forward and working alongside Imperial Valley College and San Diego State to put curriculums together for our local students and our local job seekers for the future. And so we've been able to put together a number of courses that I'm happy to report. There are 58 current plant operator graduates coming out of one of those courses right now. And we need jobs. We need this project. We need the jobs. We need a place to place those students and many more students that are coming through the process. So I'm here to urge you to deny the appeal and approve the conditional use permit. These appeals and these obstructions in different forms are never going to stop. So let's not let them start today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Who's after Mr. Ellis?
Jason Turner.
Mr. Turner, if you can start lining up for this microphone over here, appreciate it.
Good morning, Supervisors. How you guys doing? My name is Sean Ellis. I'm the political director and organizer for the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Union in Imperial County and San Diego County. So I'm just going to get right to the point. I don't need any notes or anything here to talk about this, okay? I cover Imperial County where I have a few hundred members. I cover San Diego County where I got another few thousand members. The environmentalists in several regions across this state are banning natural gas, ending power plants, and destroying our very work that we do on a constant basis. Here's an opportunity to build a new plant that could allow the union workers, in which, by the way, CTR has agreements with local workforce hire guaranteeing that the men and women that live in this region will come and work for the union and the responsible contractors to pay them a living wage. So that's a really good thing to be proud of in this region where we've struggled with business owners to find a common pathway. Today we did. We're there now. Okay, so as you were speaking to environmentalist group, one hand they tell you let's ban natural gas, let's electrify, and the other hand you have a geothermal plant with lithium extraction to make the next electric cars of the world, and now they're fighting that. So let's go ahead and move forward. You have labor here, and I bet you if I asked all my brothers and sisters back there to raise your hand if you're in support of that project. By the way, raise your hand if you're in support of that project. We're here in force. That's union, normal workers of the community, private industry, union industry. We're all here ready to make something happen. Look, San Diego is the most inflated place to live. Imperial's next. This county's next. So once you build this plant and we build the next generation of geothermal and lithium extraction plants here, you'll have a foundation of middle-class income that can literally have your people, your constituents that vote you and put you in power to be ready for the next turn in our economy, whatever that takes us. So once again, let's talk about that. Geothermal energy. The most powerful green energy source in the world, other than nuclear energy, in which I'm a fan of. But if I can't have that, let's get geothermal energy because it'll create your baseload energy. And guess what? Imperial will supply us with all the power that California needs instead of the 60% that we import from Utah, Nevada, and Arizona, right? I thought California's government's job is to make sure that we supply the power and the infrastructure for our people, especially when private industry and labor is together in one stand. So like I said, don't let one group ruin it for the masses of this community, for the state of California, and for the very example this beautiful county can make. So once again, I'm Sean Ellis, political director for the United Association Plumbers and Pipe Fitters of the United States, Canada, Australia, and Ireland. And we cannot wait to build this plant, work with CTR and all of our brothers and sisters. So thank you for the time. God bless you guys and have a beautiful day.
Thank you, sir. Cynthia, who should be lining up?
Chair, quick comment. You should run for office.
No, I'm doing your red, brother. I love that.
Brian Floyd.
Mr. Floyd, if you want to start lining up at the other microphone, thank you.
My name is Jason Turner. I'm the CEO and founder of PMC.
a general contractor from Hopeville. We have been selected as the general contractor for the Hell's Kitchen project. We'll be working with the union, we'll be working with CTR on hiring local people. And I think it's a big step on CTR's part to hire a local contractor. We've built Hudson Ranch and other geothermal facilities in the past. I didn't bring any notes, I didn't rehearse this, but I just thought that maybe you guys would like to hear from somebody from the Imperial Valley, from Hopeville. We've seen a lot of people come and go out there at the Salton Sea. And for that matter, we built a lot of plants down in Heber and also in Hopeville. And we've seen people developers come in here and try to extract lithium, build power plants, and fold up and leave. CTR hasn't. I've worked with Rod for almost 10 years, almost 11 years now. And I've seen him up and down, and he's battled through it. But I will say that I was surprised to hear that there's opposition to this, because I need to talk to you in real simple Hopeville lay terms. Lay terms. We've been in business for 26 years, but my dad was a maintenance manager for the power plant. So when I was growing up in high school, that was my Easter break, was working out the power plants. So I've got
with their hazardous waste removals. They are hiring local people, and it's already been said before, I don't want to repeat everything, but we do need the power, the base load. It's not just about the lithium, but that's a huge advantage. But we do need the power, because we're going to plug in our electric cars, and then we're going to get a notice in the afternoon in August and say, don't plug it in at your car so you can't go to work tomorrow. So in layman's terms, you know, the green energy people say we need solar panels, but we can't put them in the desert because there's a bush in our way or there's an insect in our way. But here's something that's sustainable. This is something that is going to be a long-term benefit for Imperial County. It's not just like you're going to build something and it's going to fade away. So this is going to provide long-term jobs. It's going to provide local jobs. It's going to have scientists involved, engineers involved. You're going to have pipe fitters involved. You name it. We're going to have more people down here as far as in our oversight. And so scientists want to come in and work for Imperial County Environmental Health and things like that. It's going to provide jobs of every realm. And as you guys know, forever, when you're growing up in Imperial Valley, you're looking forward and say, well, what's my opportunities here? You know, I started irrigating and driving a tractor, you know, and then what else are you going to do? Well, you can get into law enforcement. You can work for the prison when the prison came, but the jobs have been very few. Of course, we have other geothermal plants already that provide some good jobs, but here's an opportunity to get this thing going. Let's just move it forward. Let's not let these people, everybody says, I want something, I want my roads fixed, but I just don't want them fixed that way. I want you to bring in a business. I want you to bring in an industry. I just don't want you to bring in that way. I want to have control over it. So let's get this ball rolling. Let's approve this project, and let's just keep making Imperial County a great place to live. Thank you very much for your service to our community. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. Mr. Viramontes, and lining up should be Mr. Allen.
Chair, board members, good afternoon. My name is Jorge Viramontes. I'm the
business representative for the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters, Local 619 out of San Diego. We want to put on record that the Carpenters Union, we're 100% in support of this project. We want to come out here and let you guys know that, like somebody has said before me, all our union brothers are out there, and it's going to be a great project, so let's get this passed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Allen and Mr. should be lining up. Who's next?
Andrew Schwartz.
Andrew Shorts, please start getting ready.
Christopher Allen, Special Representative for the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters. I want to bring you guys my family story. My family immigrated up here from Durango, Mexico, settled in Brawley and El Centro, and many of them moved to different places of the United States, whether it be San Diego, Fresno, Texas, Arizona. And the number one reason why they moved out is because there wasn't economic opportunities for them to stay. They always say, oh yeah, if you worked with IID or the prison system, you're good to go. But if not, you're going to be struggling. CTR and PMC have made a commitment to the local workforce here. It's your opportunity today to pass this project. That way you can empower people and change lives in Imperial Valley. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next, Jose Saldaña.
Go ahead, sir.
Brother Chairman and board members, my name's Andrew Schwartz. I'm a business representative with the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 12. I'm also with the Inland Empire Labor Council as Vice President and Vice President of the Imperial County Building Trades. Local 12 operating engineers and all these associations that I'm involved with are in support of the Hell's Kitchen project completely. I am a 38-year construction worker myself. Worked in Imperial County quite a bit on Highway 86, Highway 111. My grandfather, great-grandfather, I'm fourth generation operating engineer. And we enjoyed working down here. We hope that it keeps on going, and we hope that these projects keep moving us forward. And we thank you all for all the hard work you've done over the last few years to get this project moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Steve Byrne.
Hi, my name is Jose Saldaña. I represent the Summit Masons Local 500, and I'm here in support of this, the Hell's Kitchen project. And yeah, I mean, we have a lot of members down here, like a lot of the crats have down here, and we want to keep those members busy down here without them having to travel all the way down to Coachella, keeping them down here, keep all that money down here, and get reinvested within the community. So I'm just going to keep it short. I'm in favor of this agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Saldaña.
Frank Zavala.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Steve Bond. I'm with the Plasterers Union of Southern California. We're in support of this project. It'll bring lots of work to the community. We can bring in new apprentices to work on this facility. We appreciate a yes vote. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Daniel Mache.
Good morning. I have about 15 pages to read, but I'll keep it down to 2. And I'll make it short. Good morning. My name is Frank Zavala. I'm here on behalf of the State Building Construction Trades Council of California to speak in support of the Hell's Kitchen project. The State Building Construction Trades Council of California represents over 45,000 working women and men from affiliates of 14 combined. Construction trades include roughly 65,000 apprentices trained in California, next generation of skilled union trades. Before I came to work for the State Building Trades in 2013, I worked in the field for 10 years as a laborer. Then I came aboard with the Labor's Local 300 as a field representative and a executive board member. In those years, I worked there over 20 years. During my career as a union laborer, I earned good middle-class wages, allowed me to support my family, receive health benefits, and never had to worry about the ability to retire thanks to my union pension. The Hell's Kitchen project will afford hundreds of construction workers these same opportunities and benefits that thanks to a project labor agreement between Controlled Thermal Resources, the State Building Trades, and our local affiliates, Council the Imperial County Building Trades Council. This PLA guarantees that the project will build to the highest standard by skilled women and men who receive fair wages and benefits, emphasizing on local hire. The Hell's Kitchen project has the potential to bring about transformative changes in Imperial Valley, the region that has long grappled with high unemployment levels. The creation of nearly 500 new construction jobs, plus hundreds of additional direct project jobs and thousands of indirect jobs of this project to better the lives of thousands of Californians and their families. Not just the present, but the generations to come in immense. This project is not, if this project is not allowed to move forward as planned, it would be a blatant mistake opportunity. Beyond the clear economic benefit, the Hell's Kitchen project will move California closer to meeting our ambitious goals, climate goals, and allow the United States to lessen its dependence on, second page, the other countries from lithium and other key materials needed for carbonization efforts. California has some of the world's strictest environmental labor standards. We can do this work safely and lessen invasive ways possible to the environment. Benefits of Hell's Kitchen project for Imperial Valley and beyond should speak for themselves. The State Building Trades and Affiliates Union asks that you please allow this project to proceed as planned. Thank you for your time and consideration. In closing, I heard a lot of scares, a lot of tactics. Please, the people need this, and they really do. They want to stand for themselves. Imperial County is well overdue. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Daniel Wisma would be next.
Good evening, board. Daniel Michane, IBW Local 569, and also Imperial County Building Trades Secretary Treasurer. One of the things that that we're bringing to this is I wasn't born an electrician. I had to go through a trade and learn a trade for me to become an electrician. And these jobs are going to create a lot of opportunities for our people here in Imperial County, for them to have the chance to either become electricians, become carpenters, become fitters, become plumbers, become insulators. I mean, I represent 20 different crafts, and I negotiate on behalf of them. Opportunities that are going to bring your people to the middle class. We're not talking about jobs that you get out of that one, and then you got to go to the next one because that first one doesn't pay enough for you to be able to live here. And after you get out of your second job, you got to go across the border because that's the only place you can afford to live. You know, this is our middle class jobs that we are going to create, and this is all for our people. So we stand on support of this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Hector Mesa.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Dan Wisma, Ironworkers, Local 229, representing San Diego and Imperial County. We have many members that live here locally within Imperial, and they drive back and forth to San Diego just to try and help their family survive. I know we've been talking about jobs this whole time, but it's not just about jobs, it's about a career. A job is something that somebody else is going to look forward to after they're done with their current one, or when they're ready and negotiating for their next wage. With these careers that this project's going to be providing here in the Valley, it's going to give people the opportunity to a great future, not only for them, but their family too. Like the economics already spoke about, you're talking 30 plus years of good jobs here in the Valley for the workers and their families. Thank you.
Good afternoon, board. My name is Hector Mesa. I'm a resident of Raleigh. I'm a business agent. I'm a business agent, journeyman electrician for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW 569, and an apprentice graduate of our local of our local electrical training institute here in Imperial, the city of Imperial. I am here in support of the Hell's Kitchen project. The Imperial Valley Buildings Trades has a full PLA with CTR. This means more opportunities for local residents to join the middle class through state-approved apprenticeships. Currently at IBEW 569, we locally have over 70 apprentices working around the Imperial County. Westside Canal, biking, Paloma, there's a bunch of little projects in there. We have over 70 apprentices. And okay, too far. And we're planning on opening more apprenticeship spots thanks to this project. And all of them are local residents. And thanks to the PLA, which also has a maintenance agreement clause with CTR, not only are the locals going to build it, but locals are also going to work on the projects for years to come with regular maintenance inspections and repairs. So we have a project labor agreement on that. I hope that the other developers take notes. I'm here in support of Hell's Kitchen. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We have Hipólito Magaña and Fernanda Vega.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. And thank you to the Board of Supervisors of Imperial County for this opportunity. I was born and raised in the Imperial Valley and called my valley for 60 years my home, and it's back. I'm here today, and I feel like I'm back home. I remember years ago working with Cliff Caldwell, Orlando Foote, Phil Heald, Dick Proudfoot, Orby Hanks, and after a few years in banking, we decided we were going to find ways to diversify our economy here in the Imperial Valley. And we broke our brains for 20 years trying to figure out what to do. How do we diversify jobs, build opportunities? Little did we know that the way the biggest boom in California is happening right now, and it's under the sea at the Salton Sea, at the floor. We had no idea that that would ever happen. Neil, nor my banking business for 35 years, I never had a client that said, I'm going to invest close to $1 billion on a vision. And it's happening here at the floor at the Salton Sea. You have companies from all over the world. They say that as the ocean rises, ships rise with it. The biggest ship that we have that's going to rise is in Imperial County, and its people. We talk about education. You cannot have economic development without education. We could have a world university here someday. We could have, you know, we had a gold rush 100 years ago here in California. People came and they stayed. Now we're 35 million people. We have the gold here. We have to support CTR in what they're doing. And it's not only going to help the Imperial Valley, it's going to support the entire state of California. Where do you think that new scientists are going to come? We've talked about the 100 and 250 jobs or 300 jobs. That is nothing. The future is going to be here. Where are new engineering companies going to send their students? Here. Scientists. Because what we don't know is what we don't know about what's coming up out of the ocean floor and all the products thereof. There's more than we could ever think of. We have to give them an opportunity. Who in their right mind would come in and invest the hundreds of millions of dollars on a concept that we are just at the very, very tip? We have to allow them to continue to move on, because this is going to be the biggest boom in California, and it's going to already has put the Imperial Valley in the world marketplace for lithium production and thereof. There's so many things that are going to happen here that we don't know yet. And you have the responsibility and the opportunity to help build this county for the next 100 years.
Sir, your time is up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And let's let them grow. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, supervisors. My name is Fernanda Vega, a community organizer with Imperial Valley Equity and Justice Coalition. I'm here to read our organization's statement on Controlled Thermal Resources Environmental Impact Report for its Hell's Kitchen geothermal and lithium development project. As this board knows, our coalition was born out of this pandemic because of the public health disparities that we saw during that time. For years now, we have been active stakeholders in the conversations about lithium. To date, Ivy Equity has engaged with and provided education to hundreds of residents and stakeholders, most who have not attended any other lithium meeting hosted by the county, consultants, or the industry. We engaged with residents in the cities of Calipatria, Westmoreland, Palm Bay Beach, Hopeville, Ocotillo, Imperial, El Centro, and Calexico. In this period, we hosted over 20 engagement opportunities where residents were able to share their input and questions regarding the lithium development. At every community meeting, residents and stakeholders expressed environmental concerns, some which have not been appropriately addressed by the current EIR by CTR. We want to uplift significant environmental concerns that have been raised by residents. Given the significant resident concerns and our review of the EIR, we believe that the concerns about habitat, environment, and natural resources haven't been adequately addressed in the final EIR draft. First, the final EIR states across multiple sections that there are no sensitive receptors within 2 miles of the project sites. However, it's important to note that experts have noted inconsistencies in the draft language. We want to highlight that the project is located only 3.6 miles from Nyland. That means that residents like the children that attend Grace Smith Elementary would only be short 3.6 miles away from heavy construction and increased pollution that would take place even with all the mitigation plans. Nyland is already a polluted area with elevated asthma rates and PM10 and 2.5. The final EIR indicates that it's not significant, but we want to emphasize that when you combine existing elevating pollution levels to the increased pollution from this project, the impact is significant. For these reasons, air quality concerns must be better monitored, with better plans for mitigation in place. The water quality parameters of the water used for air quality mitigations are crucial. Dust control through the application of potentially contaminated water can directly impact soil and natural habitats by introducing contaminants from the water to the environment. Further, the project description does not adequately describe the boundaries of the project. Specifically, as the California State Lands Commission has already pointed out, the project lacks information about the location and direction of the proposed slant wells outside the project area. More questions about undisclosed directional drilling plans and state land use remain unresolved. It is important that these issues be erased for the record. We request that a continuance so that there is additional time for CTR to strengthen the EIR and ensure that the health of Imperial Valley families is protected. Thank you.
Carmen Lucas and Maritza Hurtado.
Good morning, and I apologize for being so slow, but as you can see, I'm an antique. First of all, I would ask, can you all hear me? Yes. Okay, I've had problems hearing everybody else. My name is Carmen Lucas. I'm a Quimee Indian from Laguna Mountains. I'm here on behalf of my ancestors. I'm here on behalf of the history of the California Indians. Number one, I think it's terribly important after hearing so many people say they were born and raised here and have been here all their life, that the American Indians in California supersede that. The ancient Lake Cahuilla, which is what you now call the Salton Sea, is being impacted through this god-awful desire of our current times. Money, money, money. Where I understand that's important, it's a culture today that cannot live without the paper dollar. I come from a culture who understood the environment who knew how to live without money could walk in this desert and survive even in 120-degree weather. I'm concerned about this project. I have been involved on the agency level, the process, testimony for a lot of years. I visited Hell's Kitchen. Conveniently, my presence there was left out of the EIR. I'm very concerned about that because I understand our old people told us that Mother Earth is alive. When I went out there with Hell's Kitchen and they took us to the mud pots, I witnessed the heartbeat of Mother Earth. There was a document in 1914 where my grandmother related to a white woman standing on the edge of Laguna Mountains in the far distance across the desert sands. You can see the flicker of the light. In 1871, the geologists and the engineers documented that the Native Americans in this area, as well as the old white people, settlers, talked about the flame of the earth and the steam coming up. Our people, our medicine people, understand that to be the heartbeat, the fire within of Mother Earth. So I give you that little bit of history because, as you might imagine, as an American Indian, in my blood is in this earth. The bones of my ancestors is in this earth. I am concerned about what is happening to the environment, to the heartbeat of Mother Earth, if you would. So it isn't just Hell's Kitchen and all these labor union guys. It really is cumulative effects. What are the unintended consequences? As an American Indian, I have a right to consult with you. I have written you a letter asking that I consult with you. I've yet to consult with you. Why is that? Is that because I'm an American Indian? I'm smelling something that doesn't smell good, and it's not the Salton Sea. So I'm asking you, please pause. Please have the courtesy to respond to the American Indians' request. This is far more than just money and jobs. This truly is the sacredness of Southern California. I know that Washington looks at us just like they did with the windmills at Ocotillo Wind, just like they have with the solar powers, looking at this desert thinking it's a wasteland. It is not a wasteland, but we are making it a wasteland. Nothing lasts forever, and things do change. But I'd ask you to pause, think of your conscience, and I'm asking you to bring all my comments to the record. And I'm asking you once more, please consult with me. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Maritza Hurtado, sorry, breaking your equipment. Maritza Hurtado, Calexico, California. I am the team leader for the Calexico recall of Raul Ureña, our former mayor, and Gilberto Manzanares. I didn't think I would stand up here, but I stayed around for a little bit because it is interesting. I am going to say I am in favor of this project because it does bring great jobs. I can see that all of the individuals that are here to support this industry that is just so exciting for all of us. In Calexico, we see this happening, but we have also other issues out there. But one thing that I did want to make sure is to make sure to comment that the appellant, the person appealing this project, Comité Cívico of Brawley, is here today behind us. And I could see that he has brought his Ivy Equity and Justice group again to work at the political, what they feel are their political positions here. I feel that Ivy Equity and Justice, together with Comité Cívico, are highly hypocritical by appealing this project. It's important that you all know that Comité Cívico did a project in the city of Calexico and stole our park. And we were here last week to tell the tribe, where Ivy Equity is also supporting that tribe, about sacred land. Well, they took our park. We don't have very many parks in the city of Calexico. We probably have only 2 that are actually operational. And Comité Cívico came and did a deal with our mayor at that time, who's being recalled at this time, and our city manager, Esperanza Colio, where we didn't know what went down. We had a park that was in operation, and now we have EV chargers. So I was really confused too. Isn't Comité Cívico the recipient of Imperial County's huge granting amount, which was like $9 million? And now they're suing the actual industry and the companies that want to come and actually make it happen? It's really confusing to understand what Comité Cívico is doing to our community with regard to lithium. It bothers me a lot. It's disturbing to see that there's high hypocrisy with regard to Comité Cívico's activities and how they can be hypocritical to a very, very poor community like Calexico and take a park, not pay for it. They got it for free. We all came here and told you that there was no CEQA, there was no review, there was no planning commission. Comité Cívico came straight to Calexico, shook our mayor's hand, and walked away with a huge chunk of Rockwood Plaza. The citizens of Calexico got nothing in return, absolutely nothing. Shame on Comité Cívico, shame on Ivy Equity, shame on all those individuals who are hypocrites in our community. They are carpetbaggers. $9 million from Imperial County, Jose Luis Olmedo of Comité Cívico, and here you are being a hypocrite, expecting all this. You need to pick a team, Comité Cívico.
Juice Robertson.
Go ahead. Comdot Motiv. My name is Manfred Scott. I'm from the Kazan tribe. And we always talk about a meaningful consultation between tribes. And the Kazan tribe feels that AB 52 consultation has not been or has been inadequate, and that significant tribal cultural resource concerns have gone unaddressed. It affects all the areas within the southeast area of the cultural resources in that area of the Hell's Kitchen. And it affects everything, and it affects us when cultural resources get destroyed. When they get destroyed, it's irreplaceable. And it seems like there hasn't really been a consultation with the tribe, rather government to government. And so also it seems like the draft EIR, there were some changes that were made. And if they are made, is that a violation to the CEQA? And so we need more consultation with the tribes and with our tribe. And that hasn't been met. And when is it going to be met, or is it not? Those are the questions we have. And when we always talk about meaningful consultation, we look at government to government, agencies to agencies, to make sure assurance that our cultural areas are protected. Thank you.
Hugo Castañeda.
Hi, board. Good afternoon. Started out morning, so I'm sure everybody's getting hungry. I'm going to take a little bit different approach for you guys. And by the way, I'm the owner of Radco Incorporated, co-owner. We employ several dozen people here in the valley, locally, 19 years. So my approach is, can the Radco guys wave your hands? So these are faces that you can look at that are going to be positively impacted, including their families, on this project. This is just some of them from my company. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys actually saw faces and really understand the historical significance of this project. You know, the Imperial County has a really good opportunity that just landed in your laps. You know, literally, this is a really good opportunity, and I would sure hate to see it go to waste. You know, I understand impacts. I understand that there's some negative comments that are being made, but the positives, I mean, let's face it, the Imperial County isn't always on the news for good things. This is a great thing. You know, how many bridges, where's John at? How many bridges can $500 million fix? You know, I wasn't involved in the numbers, so that's just coming from this number earlier. But I don't even know if those numbers include all of the payroll taxes and things like that from all the employees on that project throughout the time, and how much of an impact this is going to have on the entire county. I mean, there's going to be new houses built. There's going to be potholes fixed, bridges fixed. I mean, this is huge. And I would sure hate to see the county turn something down this significant when there's other states that are doing it right now too. You know, what's stopping this company from picking up and leaving other than the huge investment at this point? But there are other communities, other states that are allowing this to go on. So I encourage a 5-0 vote. I know I'd appreciate it. I know my guys would appreciate it. So that's it.
Thank you.
Luis Pinedo.
Good afternoon. My name is Hugo Castañeda. I'm a union rep for the Boilermakers Local 92. My local union has been around for 132 years because of projects like this. We've been dying, according to people, for hundreds of years already, right? And projects like this is what's kept us alive and brought a lot of work to our people here in every county. We cover all of Southern California, Southern Nevada, with major projects like this, and it's gonna uplift the people in every county, in every area. So we're just here in support.
Thank you, sir.
Luis Pinedo. And Sean Milanovic.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Luis Pinedo. I represent the bricklayers and tilelayers and allied crafts for Southern California Local 4. And a project of this magnitude not only brings work for the workers, but it also has them spend that money again back in the communities and helps uplift the communities. It helps the families. It helps workers that not only get paid a wage, but they also get benefits for themselves and their families. So it helps the economy at the end of the day, and it's very important for all the people that are here locally, that live here, that need that money to come back to them. Not only the workers, but when they go out and shop, when they take their families out, when they spend that money locally. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Sean Milanovic, and I am a member of the Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla Indians at the west end of the valley. I am in opposition to this project, and for all the lithium projects, Lithium Valley around the Salton Sea at the east end of the Coachella Valley, that just sounds crazy to me. Our families, our tribal people hold this area as sacred. The sea itself, as Auntie Carmen had said, it is alive, it is breathing. When we see those mud pots belching out that sacred earth, belching out those gases and that water, that's the medicine. We still go to the sea, we harvest that medicine, we sing to it, we offer gifts to the sea, to the land around it. All around the Salton Sea, the sea itself is vibrantly shaking and letting us know that it's there, and as we see it, it's our responsibility to take care of this beautiful landscape. In 1852, the United States government signed 18 treaties in California. The Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla Indians was one of those tribes. Not all tribes were allowed to, were even invited to come and sign those treaties. But one of our members signed that treaty. And by signing that treaty, we have an obligation to be respectful and mindful to the United States. And in the United States, including the state of California, Imperial County has an obligation to listen to the tribes. Not all tribes have been a part of SB 52. There's a lot of tribes that have not been a part of it, and what has been done has been very little. What about Section 106 for the National Historic Preservation Act, the National Environmental Protection Act? There is no commitment to reach out to the tribes to do due diligence. We are being neglected again. And I implore you to reach out to the tribes, to reach out to me, specifically right where Hell's Kitchen is going to go. That's an extremely sacred site. That's where our people go specifically for medicine, for training and for healing right there. And if you want to know more about it, I can talk to you in a closed session. But this area is precious to my heart, to our families. We have thousands of people that want to help and protect the sea. We go there regularly. And so I ask that you reach out to the tribes and talk to us. Reach out and talk to me. My name is Sean Milanovich, and I am a member of the Agua Caliente Band of Kuya Indians. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Chairman, the next three speakers will be via Zoom.
Okay. And then that will conclude our public hearing.
First speaker is Maria Nava Froelich.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairman Plancarte and Imperial County Supervisors. My name is Maria Nava Froelich. I'm a City Council member for the City of Calipatria, and I'm a resident of the City of Calipatria and formerly from the town site of Nyland. The City of Calipatria will be the most impacted municipality due to its close proximity to the Lithium Valley area. The City of Calipatria is located at the northeastern end of the Imperial Valley, contiguous to the Salton Sea, known as the Geothermal Resource Area. It is 40 miles north of the U.S.-Mexico border and 96 miles east of San Diego and 142 miles southeast of Los Angeles. The City of Calipatria's population is 6,515 as of April 1st of 2020, which includes a prison population of approximately 3,000 in Calipatria State Prison as per census of 2020. Currently, the city's population is at a decline of a minus 4.46% annually and has decreased by a minus 15.56% since 2010. The City of Calipatria and Imperial County has among the lowest, the highest poverty rates in the nation. Persons in poverty in 2016 through 2020 for the City of Calipatria was at 35.4% compared to Imperial County at 18.1% and the state of California at 12.58%. The city's median household income in 2020 dollars was at $37,196 compared to the county's $46,220 and state $80,440. We are well aware of economic challenges as a disadvantaged community. The City of Calipatria has taken a proactive and strategic approach to apply our community's unique economic role and assets to help facilitate the momentum of the development of the Lithium Valley project. The city has been actively involved in the Blue Ribbon Valley Commission meetings and programmatic EIR, community outreach and environmental workshops, meetings, forums, and have conducted site visits related to the Lithium Valley projects to better assess how we can better support these projects. Controlled Thermal Resources, Health Kitchen Power Company, and Hell's Kitchen Lithium are among other lithium developers such as Energy Source Minerals and Berkshire Hathaway Energy Renewables that will be part of the Imperial County's Lithium Valley. I am speaking this afternoon on my own behalf as an individual and not for the entire council in support of this project because it is good for our economic development and will bring much needed jobs for many of our residents that are currently unemployed. I welcome the economic and global environmental benefits the Lithium Valley industry will bring to our municipality, county, and state, and to the nation's energy security. The Lithium Valley Community Benefits funding from the SB 125 excise tax will provide 30% direct investments towards the most disadvantaged communities and households within the red line communities of Calipatra and Nyland and other north end communities. 20% of the excise funding will go directly to the restoration of the Salton Sea. The whole Imperial County will benefit from the community benefits for much needed funding for infrastructure projects, bridges and roads and economic development. These lithium projects will provide opportunities for business, public agencies, nonprofits, and other institutions to participate in and benefit from statewide and national efforts to promote green, clean energy.
Ms. Volich, if you can start wrapping
Community
it up, please.
benefits will provide the infrastructure funding for State Highway 111 and improvements for streets and the acquisition of the water system in Calipatra. My time is up almost, huh?
It
Please
is
allow me
quite
to
up.
finish. It will also provide educational funding to assist our local Calipatra School District, Imperial Valley College, and the San Diego State University and Imperial County campus. These community benefits will maximize economic and environmental and public health benefits for Calipatra and island communities, particularly in the Salton Sea receding shorelines, and complement efforts and increase funding to improve air quality to the impacted communities. These lithium projects will foster job creation by promoting local impacted communities within the Lithium Valley and geothermal basin area. I strongly urge you to do everything you can to help the Imperial County make these projects a reality. I ask today for the County Board of Supervisors to approve the CTR's Hell's Kitchen Power Company and Hell's Kitchen Lithium Conditional Use Permit as submitted by the Controlled Thermal Resources. Thank you very much for your time and have a good day.
Thank you, Ms. Volich.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Mr. Jared Anemark.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Jared Neymark. I'm the California organizer with Earthworks. We're a nonprofit organization that protects communities and the environment from the adverse impacts of mineral and energy development while promoting sustainable solutions. And for the past 2 years, I've been working with community organizations in Imperial County to better understand the impacts of proposed lithium extraction projects. I'm commenting today to urge the board to grant the 30-day continuance that Comité Civico has requested or to grant the appeal. With Comité, I've reviewed and submitted comments at every stage of the process. I remain concerned that the applicant has failed to disclose and analyze significant environmental impacts as required by CEQA, and that our comments have not received a full response, and that the final EIR remains inadequate. In particular, I'm concerned about the lack of cumulative impacts analysis with regards to water supply for the project. The water supply assessment considers in isolation the project's 6,500 acre-feet per year demand, ignoring the additional demand from the nearby proposed geothermal power plants that would bring consumption for non-agricultural use well above the remainder under the interim water supply policy. Then if you also account for what's being planned for Lithium Valley more broadly, now estimated at 100,000 acre-feet per year in the initial study for the specific plan, there's a major shortfall with no explanation of where this water will come from and what the impacts will be. The EIR needs to be revised to analyze this reality of limited water supply in the region, especially with federal scientists just now projecting that Lake Mead will once again reach historic lows by the end of 2025. Every drop matters. I'm also concerned about the lack of clarity and analysis regarding hazards, such as potential for brine spills and classification of hazardous waste. The applicant continues to state that waste produced by descaling exceeding California standards will be extremely rare, but they don't explain how they arrived at that finding. Understanding their methodology is crucial information to keep the community and the environment safe from the hazards from a novel operation. Finally, I would like to clarify that some of the comments made today about baseload energy don't account for the fact that 35 to 40 megawatts will be used to power the lithium extraction plant itself, Geothermal and baseload power are great, but this majority of this energy produced will go towards lithium extraction, and that needs to be considered carefully. Earthworks is not against lithium extraction. On the contrary, we believe Imperial County has an historic opportunity to work towards a just energy transition by pursuing responsible projects with the highest environmental standards. Unfortunately, the Hell's Kitchen project as it currently stands does not set a good example, and so I'd ask the board to grant the continuance or the appeal. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Our last speaker for the day.
Yes, last speaker, Dr. Elise Sharpa.
Good afternoon. Board of Supervisors. My name is Dr. Ali Sharbat. I'm a professor of civil engineering at Cal Poly Pomona. My area of work, what I do is environmental engineering and water resources management. I've been involved in development of this draft environmental impact report, and we've been providing review comments since it was publicized. We responded we submitted comment letters in October of 23. But unfortunately, I see we have not seen proper response or action items from the applicants. So I would like to urge the Board of Supervisors to grant appeal for the and require revision of the environmental impact report. I have a few points to make why I think this environmental impact report is not proper. First of all, this project does not properly consider the availability of water. It doesn't respond to water supply concerns. As all of us we know, the Colorado River Basin experiencing significant water stress, particularly in the lower basin, and Lake Mead is a good representative of the situation that is happening. During the past 2 decades, the level is going down. When there is no water, how we are going to allocate 6,500 acre feet of water for a single project? I feel there will be challenges. There is not available water for projects, for simply municipalities are being concerned in other states, and this is something that we need to be thinking of. The second point is the need for hydrogeology study. The ERI basically says since the other existing geothermal plants are returning back the brine to the layers underground, this project is going to do the same thing. This is totally irrelevant. Comparing this project with the existing project is totally irrelevant because there are changes, there are undisclosed changes to the matrix of water. And this water is going to be changed and it's going to be injected underground, and it is going to have significant effects on the quality of ground, the resource which is underground. And I'm from Cal Poly Pomona. The picture you see behind me is the campus Cal Poly Pomona. 5 decades ago, some private companies came and did some projects in the region, and unfortunately the groundwater underneath Cal Poly Pomona is contaminated forever. Next generations will not have the opportunity to use the groundwater.
Doctor, if you can wrap it up, please.
Thank you, absolutely. And what I want to and the way I want to wrap it up is that I'm totally in support of the economic developments of this type of projects, which will bring to the region. And people should not be concerned if the company moves to other states, because other states do not have lithium resources to offer. What we are saying is this type of project needs to be done properly, and I would urge the Board of Supervisors to grant appeal for the revision of the ERI. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Doctor. Okay, that brings to a close the public hearing portion of this item. Bring it back to this body for questions, comments, motions.
Chair, comment.
Mr. Escobar, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be sort of quick because I am hungry and thirsty. And no, I just did that, but thank you. Some of you know, because I think I've said this story before. My dad went through some hard times with all the peso devaluations and came back to Imperial County to seek employment. And he went from being an accountant in Mexico to being what, Ruth, where were you back in the day? A teamster with the Calexico Housing Authority. And the job he got was as a utility worker. And it basically meant that he had to cut grass. And I'm not comparing it to farm labor workers because I think that might even be a harder job. But cutting grass at 120 degrees from 7 to 4 is not an easy task. 6 to 7 months out of the year. Circle back to I was lucky enough to be unlucky enough, depending on how you see the glass half full or half empty, where I was able to go to college, get a degree, get an MBA, and come back to a local bank. That local bank in its heyday employed over 250 people with an average wage rate of roughly $50,000. My dad made $5 an hour. Minimum wage, I'm sure some of you are going to remember, was $4.25. This is 1987. 10 years later, I was able to get employed by a bank where the average wage rate was roughly $50,000, plus benefits, retirement, etc. You know how many jobs were left in Imperial County from that bank? From 250 plus? Two. So when an opportunity comes our way that will exponentially increase opportunities, not for me, not for them, for our kids and for our grandkids, it's very hard to turn a cold shoulder. It's very hard to turn a cold shoulder because this is the future of Imperial County. Imperial County will no longer be a government and farm-driven economy. It will be an industrial farming and government-driven economy, which is a three-headed monster, which is a lot easier to digest and provides exponential opportunities for our kids and our grandkids. And for those of you out there that think I don't care about health, come at me guns blazing. I've got 3 girls, and they've battled cancers 3 times. Hodgkin's lymphoma, Ewing sarcoma, and AML, acute myeloid leukemia. So if you think I don't care about the health and well-being, air quality, water quality in our county, you're fucking wrong. I apologize for the F-bomb, but I'm very passionate about this.
Should be.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Escobar. Mr. Hawk and then Mr. Kelley.
Yes, thank you for an opportunity. I find that Mr. Sisson, the attorney for Comite, when I look at their objections, I feel that they are shallow objections. First of all, comments like a deeply flawed mitigation measure. What does that mean, deeply flawed? So I look at that, I look at the overuse and allocation of water. One of their issues was that it's a mile away. My goodness, IID can deliver water to San Diego. That's a little farther than a mile away. They talk also about 6,500 acre feet of water. That's a mitigation. I'm in the farming business, and that is made up. Their water can be made up right here in our valley, and they're by conservation measures. Okay, so all kinds of ways. I don't see that that's an issue. Another comment was novel areas of unknown safeguards. What does that mean? Okay, unknown safeguards. Okay, and on, and public benefits. But so committee has said we object to objections to fails and fails to use an accurate and stable project description. Okay, what does that mean? Listen, folks, these are very vague, very broad measures that they're using against Hell's Kitchen. When I read in the report, I read a little bit more about, there's concerns about a brine pond. Okay, that might be legitimate. But how? Okay, if you're doing it right because of the lining. Number two, reinjection process. And I'm just not sure that committee understands what a reinjection process is. Listen, they've been reinjecting ever since ponds have been out there, ever since the geothermal industry has been operating. And Mr. Turner could tell you that in a heartbeat. Okay? Listen, what happens when you don't reinject is what you have in Mexico, where they did not reinject the fields below Mexicali. They sunk. It's terrible out there. It's just a big sump, and then it's full of water, and it's got all kinds of stuff, of chemicals and whatever, very unsafe. So reinjection is proven, and it's important. Then they talk about directional drilling and dewatering activities. Well, what does that mean? Okay, I'm not an expert, don't plan to be, but Mr. Sisson, as an attorney, I would be concerned about criticizing someone that's been in the business, like Control Thermal Resources or any of the other companies that are out there. So here's the thing that I would say. When a planning commission approves this project, that's huge. They have looked at every aspect of what is happening. When the Planning and Development Department approves this project, that means a lot. Okay? They've approved 2 CUPs. They've approved 2 variances. They've approved the environmental impact report, which is huge. The mitigation monitoring and reporting program has been approved. The water supply assessment has been approved. And the CEQA, California Environmental Quality Act, has been approved. So with respect to all the speakers, I thank everybody for coming. And with great respect, we honor Mrs. Carmen Lucas and Mr. Milanovich and what they've said about their their views on the native Indians and all of that. We appreciate that, and we know that there are concerns there. But an EIR, and let me conclude with this, an EIR is presumed adequate, and the plaintiff in a CEQA action has the burden of proving otherwise. So folks, there are things probably that are unknown, but I think they have exhausted everything that this county has asked them to do. They've been in this process for I don't know how many years, 10 years. And so when you look at this, it is an unbelievable hurdle that they've overcome, not to mention the jobs, the productivity, the resources, the mothers in this valley that say, bring my kids home, give them a good job. And I've walked an area in Brawley probably a year ago, and I heard that over and over again. We need good jobs to bring our kids home, to bring them home. They leave. They grow up in the valley and they take off. And it's one of the things that helps build families. When you can bring your kids home to a good job, then that's where families thrive and prosper. So I'm willing to make a motion to approve Hell's Kitchen as submitted by CTR. So I don't know if that's appropriate at this time.
You can go ahead, and when it comes time to,
Okay.
if you have no further comments, we'll go to Supervisor Michael Kelley.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I lived in the valley my entire year. And I'm not going to talk about myself or things I've done or seen or gone through to have this life. But I heard a lot of information today. And one that keeps sticking out in my mind is disadvantaged communities. Well, I submit to you, the entire county of Imperial has been disadvantaged for many, 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 many years. We now have an opportunity to change the direction and the course that Imperial County can go and benefit generations to come. And I submit to you, Board, would be totally and absolutely irresponsible for us not to go forward with this project. And that's how I stand, and that's my support. And it's nice and brief. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Kelley. Supervisor Ryan Kelley?
Thank you, Chair. I want to acknowledge everybody that came to spend a morning and afternoon with us. Thank you. Everyone's voice is heard, but I do want to share some of the conditions of where we are today. Is that this board has been building an environment to see this activity, not just Hell's Kitchen, but the entire Lithium Valley prospectus for the future of our youth and for us to be able to have opportunities here in Imperial County beyond, as Mr. Escobar mentioned, government, service, and ag. And I've been living that this past 10 years, trying to get recognition of geothermal in federal and state hallways. And it finally happened in 2021, where the PUC recognized it and added it to the integrated resource plan. I didn't hear any of these complaints, though, in 2013 or in 2021 when another applicant was coming before this board. So I support Imperial County jobs. I support Imperial County's future. And I believe that the applicant and the county have performed their due diligence in giving us a document that we can feel comfortable with and move forward. I have reviewed, and I support a motion that's being proposed.
Thank you, Supervisor Kelley. I think all of us can get behind, all five of us can get behind the feelings shared today. I would like to thank everybody who has spoken on either side of this issue. And I respect your points of view. I think that today we have heard some good, solid information. But I also can see where there is red herring that's saying, look at something else. You know, the CEQA process clearly spells out what has to be done. And my fear is that if we either do a continuation on this or turn it down, is that after that, another organization will say, well, I wasn't consulted with, so let's go ahead and kick it forward another month or 60 days. Improperly placing themselves in the future in CEQA processes, which that is not part of the CEQA process. I think that this is a great opportunity for our county economics and also for us to get a message that we are growing Lithium Valley. We are here to do business. If you do your proper reports and environmental assessments and CEQA, we will welcome you with open arms. So with that, Madam Clerk, if you make motions available, what I'd like to do is once the motions are made, I would like to go ahead and do a roll call vote on this item. And if you can go ahead and clarify your motion.
Okay, my motion is to approve the Hell's Kitchen project as submitted by CTR.
And that would be denying the appeal.
Denying the appeal.
Is that?
Yeah.
And Chairman, I would recommend once again to go one at a time as listed on the agenda.
Okay. And so
where's the agenda?
If you want to make them, here are the one by one.
Okay, I make a motion that we support approval of denial of appeal number 23-0004.
prior to a second, do you have to clarify anything as far as how how it's being read and presented? Just to make sure, that would be a question for the clerk as well as our county council.
So this motion would be for, and it's in the backup here as number 1, and then it has 2, A, B, and C. As it's listed on the agenda, it's consider approval or denial of appeal. So this motion here is to deny the appeal, and then to reemphasize everything, we would go down the list for all the conditional use permits and so on.
And typically, the clerk reads the portion of the item as well as the alphanumeric bullet point. So I just want to be clear so there won't be any issues down the road.
I can go ahead and do that.
Okay, thank you.
Chair?
Yes, sir.
As Mr. Escobar just mentioned, so a first action would be the denial as listed on the
On item
agenda?
23, correct.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, you want a roll call on all items?
That would be sending a clear message, yes.
Just for clarification, 23A would be consider denial of appeal number 23-0004.
Any of you do a roll call vote? So we have a motion by Mr. Hawk, a second by Mr. Michael Kelley on this one.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes?
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
and District 5.
Yes.
B, be consider approval of water supply agreement.
So we have a motion by Supervisor Michael Kelley, a second by Supervisor John Huck. Call for the vote.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes?
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
C, consider approval of final EIR and findings of facts for SCH number 2022-030704.
And that would be a motion by Supervisor Jesus Escobar, second by Supervisor Ryan Kelley.
Just to clarify for the record, Clerk,
Yes.
consider to denial. I
To
think
deny
you
the
said
appeal.
approval.
I'm sorry.
Approval of
Of the
denial?
No.
The final EIR?
Look at the
Denial
way
of,
it's termed on
denial
there.
of appeal.
Okay.
The wording here is denial of appeal, right?
Yes, and now we're on, did you say consider approval of final EIR?
Okay, let's go ahead and get the wording
glad you
clear on
clarified
this.
that.
So
The way
far,
it's appearing to us is showing.
Approval.
So it's 23C, consider approval of final EIR. Is that correct, Chairman?
Is it approval of the ERA?
it is approval and denial of the appeal,
Of the appeal, okay.
right? We are denying the appeal.
So in 23A, we denied the appeal. We're going through each letter and we're approving the different.
Correct.
23C, approval of final EIR, SCH 2022-030704, including findings of facts.
We are approving the EIR.
I see that. Right here too.
Okay, so we have a motion by Supervisor Escobar, a second by Supervisor Ryan Kelley. Let's call for the vote.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes?
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
D, approval of mitigation monitoring and reporting program.
Correct. We have a motion by Supervisor Michael Kelley, a second by Supervisor John Hawk. Please vote.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
E, approval of conditional use permit number 21-020, Power Co. 1 LLC.
We have a motion by Supervisor John Hawk, a second by Supervisor Escobar. Please call for the vote.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
District 3,
Yes. Twice.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
23F, approval of conditional use permit number 21-021, Lithium Co. 1 LLC.
Have a motion by Supervisor Michael Kelley, a second by Supervisor Jesus Escobar. Please call for the vote.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
23G, approval of variance and number 21-004, Power Co. 1 LLC.
We have a motion by Supervisor John Hawk, a second by Supervisor Michael Kelley. Please call for the vote.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
And 23H, approval of variance number 21-005, Lithium Co. 1 LLC.
Last but not least on this item, we have a motion by Supervisor John Hawk, a second by Supervisor Escobar. Please call for the vote.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Therefore, the
Appeal.
the appeal is declined and the project is approved. Looking for the right words.
You have 38 still.
Correct. And with that, we will go ahead to items pulled from the discussion calendar. Item number 38 is up next.
Thank you, Cynthia. The board met in closed session regarding a conference with real property negotiator under Government Code 54956.8 concerning the property at 440 West Main Street, Calipatria, APN 023070007. Negotiating parties, City of Calipatria. Direction was given, no reportable action taken. The board met in closed session regarding a conference with legal counsel, existing litigation under Government Code 54956.9D1, the case of Otero versus County of Imperial Superior Court, case number ECU 003036. Direction was given, no reportable action taken. The board met in closed regarding a conference with legal counsel under anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation, 2 matters under Government Code 54956.9D2. Direction was given, no reportable action taken. The board met in closed session regarding a conference with labor negotiator under Government Code 54957.6. Direction was given, no reportable action taken. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Haven. It is 2:06 p.m. Meeting adjourned.